and run for 2 or 3 minutes on the field. A lot was made of that, and Coach Brown will talk about it as we are underway. Said his team looked right in practice this week. He likes what he sees coming into this week 3 game.
Well, he said his team didn't leave it all out on the field, so he wanted to get the rest of what they didn't leave on the field with those extra sprints after the ball game. I don't have a problem with it. It's old school football coaching. He wanted to let those guys know what he means is business, and he let them know, and he lit a fire up under those guys. And I think we'll see the result of that this evening, Doug.
The quarterback for Colgate is a senior from Carmel, Indiana, Zach Osborne. Numbers are good. He's a dual threat guy. And as Coach Kurt Fitzpatrick says, he needs great leadership, which he does, but he needs a point guard, not a shooting guard, trying to set up those around him, and he does, to their All-American receiver, Treyvhon Saunders.
And Saunders is a guy that they're going to try and get the ball to throughout the afternoon. He's a twitchy wide receiver. What he impresses me with is what he does after he catches the football. He's able to bend his body in ways where defensive backs can't get a hold of him. He breaks tackles. He's got that twitchy move on the outside. And once he gets in the open field, I don't see too many people catching him.
He leads the nation in receiving yards at the Division I level. They keep it on the ground this time. Antoine Delorier, who played so good in the overtime win over UConn, takes down Brendan Casamajor, the 5th-year running back from Bridgewater, Massachusetts.
And one of the things Colgate is going to try to take advantage of is the middle of that Syracuse defensive line. They were getting pushed back a little bit early in that ball game last week against UConn, and in the first game against Tennessee, albeit that was tougher competition. But they want to try and take advantage of the interior portion of that defensive line.
Davian Kerr, the sophomore from outside of Hartford, Connecticut, playing nickel to start the football game for Syracuse. Osborne under fire, picks his way through the line, tries to protect the football and gets down at the 38-yard line. That's where they'll mark him after a 3-yard pickup. It'll be 3rd down and 7.
And good pressure by number 4, Dion Wilson. But you see Osborne, he sees the scene. He does a good job of stepping up in the pocket, feeling the pressure from the outside. One of the things that Osborne did that the coaching staff talked to us about is he got down. They talked about his dual threat ability, but they want to make sure he doesn't take any unnecessary contact.
Danny Shavin, the number 2 running back, is out and split wide to the right. Keep your eye on number 9, Treyvhon Saunders. He has already caught 24 passes this year. They come to number 14 down the near sideline. It's Brady Hutchinson. Good coverage by Demetrius Samuel, the 17-year-old freshman.
And this is an impressive young man. Watch number 1, Demetrius Samuel on the outside. He doesn't panic. He never turned around and locate the football. But what he did is held his arm there, and right when the ball got there, he was able to stick it up in there and poke it out. A good job by the young man, not panicking and getting his arm in there and knocking it out right at the right time.
And so Tyler Fontenot and the Colgate punt team delivers a wobbly punt that's going to go out of bounds at about the 40-yard line. Syracuse will get the football in tremendous position under the guidance of Notre Dame transfer Steve Angeli.
And Angeli's been impressive with his ability to get the ball. He throws a nice ball. He gets good spin on it. And what he does a good job of is putting the ball where only his teammate can get a hand on it. He puts the ball where his receivers can make a play on it, where the defenders don't have a chance. Great catch on the outside, helping his quarterback right there. But he does a good job of delivering the ball where it needs to be.
Will Nixon, the starting running back for Syracuse. Yasin Willis is out for the day. Also, Malachi James is out. So the running back room is a little light tonight for the Orange. That one floated up there and incomplete into coverage. It'll be 2nd down and 10, trying to find Darrell Gill Jr. down the middle.
And you see early pressure on Angeli. He's not able to step into that throw. He did a good job of just getting rid of the football, but Elijah Hamilton, number 55, got pressure on him and did not allow him to step all the way through. He had what he wanted. He had single coverage down the middle of the field, but he just couldn't get enough on the football.
And keep your eye on number 60, the left tackle starting for Syracuse tonight, Niquil Betrand. As an injury replacement under pressure, a beautifully thrown ball to Jonte Cook. He's been dealing with some nagging injuries, but look good there. A 24-yard strike with Justin Toller in coverage.
Easy Cook with the vertical route, but watch what Angeli does. He stays in the pocket. He's got pressure in his face, but you see his ability to deliver a strike with pressure right in his face. A good job by Angeli.
Yeah, that was Trooper Price, the linebacker, number 18, who gave a lot of pressure. And once again, it's Elijah Hamilton, one of the other captains on defense, bringing down Will Nixon.
And once again, what Angeli does a good job of is standing tall in the pocket. He knows he's going to possibly get hit, but you see he delivers a strike. And that's what I'm talking about. That football, he always puts it where his receiver can just run under the football. You give Angeli time, he will get the ball down the field, as evidenced by those 417 yards last week.
Yeah, just a couple of years ago, Jonte Cook was a top 30 recruit nationally, went to Texas before transferring to Syracuse. Loaded with a lot of ability. Will Nixon stacked up at about the 35-yard line, a 6-yard gain for the redshirt senior out of Waco, Texas.
And one of the philosophies for this offensive line is to establish a physical mindset. And you do that by running the ball effectively. You saw they got a good run on that play, so I expect to see them firing off the football with a flat back, trying to knock those defenders back.
Gonna throw for it on third down, jumping the route, the defensive back. He nearly got a hand on it, couldn't get there, and the catch was made by Darrell Gill Jr. A 6-yard pickup and moved the sticks for the Orange.
Dangerous, dangerous throw. Tamir Wynn is right there. He timed that almost perfectly, but once again, you see Angeli throwing the ball right where he needs to throw it and getting rid of it in the nick of time.
3 receivers to the near side. Angeli hands it off. Nixon picks his way through the line of scrimmage for positive yardage. Trying to stay on schedule here on their first drive of the night. Gain of 3 for Will Nixon.
You see good counter action, the guard and the tackle pulling from the opposite side. You want to get some misdirection going, get this defense to slow down, get them to thinking a little bit.
Syracuse with a little tempo. Angeli fires near side, has his man. Justin Ross Simmons beats a man, dives to the pylon. Touchdown, Syracuse. 26 yards on that same combination that won the UConn game in week 2.
He said, good job. Watch the stiff arm by Simmons on the outside. And that is what you expect from your big receiver. When he gets the ball on the outside, 6'3", 210 pounds, he uses that strength. He turns, he stiff arms Justin Toller just enough to get around him and to get to the edge. And you see the speed once he gets to the outside.
And so the Orange strike first. Trip Woody, the place kicker, and former Iowa Hawkeye, makes it 7-0 Syracuse. Steve Angeli, the combination with Justice Ross Simmons, cooking here to start the night in the game against the Colgate Raiders here at the Dome. Back in Syracuse, the kickoff goes out of bounds. Colgate will get the football back as we just got a nice look at the latest addition to the John A. Lally Athletic Complex, which opened this spring, the new Football Performance Center. And I'm telling you, for us, yesterday, Mark Petrie, the injured center for Syracuse, I happened to run into number 72. There he is, coaching up his buddy there, Carter Clark, one of the younger offensive linemen. And he gave me a nickel tour of the complex, the Lally complex. It's incredible. You got a chance to look around as well.
Absolutely beautiful complex. And what was funny and interesting is when we talked to Coach Brown about Petrie being around the program, his comments about he better be to support these kids with the NIL money he was getting.
Got a flag coming in as Saunders was unable to pull it in. Davian Kerr in coverage.
Holding. Defense, number 10. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Automatic first down.
So that goes against Davian Kerr. Just to finish up on Petrie, again, the idea Coach Brown was saying, yeah, he's got to be around coaching up. The guy's got to earn his NIL money.
Absolutely.
But he's still on campus, staying in shape and getting an opportunity, hopefully, if he's healthy enough, to get into the Senior Bowl or something else. His playing career for Syracuse is done, but maybe he plays a bowl game so that he can then show the NFL scouts he's ready to go.
And I love that the school is supporting him and giving him that opportunity to get healthy and possibly get an opportunity to play at the next level.
False start. Offense. Number 79, 5-yard penalty, first down.
That's the left tackle, Ryan Murphy, out of St. Anthony's High School, downstate. He's from Colgate. Well, Syracuse on its first drive, 7 plays, 65 yards. First points the Oranges scored so far this season with the early lead in this Central New York rivalry game.
Let's go defense!
Saunders, the motion man, dump it off on the screen to Shapen out of the backfield. He's checked down from behind at about the 35-yard line. Deion Tank Wilson brings him down after a 5-yard pickup about the original line of scrimmage to bring up 2nd down and 10.
And they'll do a lot with Saunders. They're going to move him around. They want to attract attention, but they're also going to use him as a decoy. You see, when he comes across in motion, that gets the attention of the safeties, of the linebackers, everybody on defense, and they come to the opposite side of the field with the football. So they'll look for matchups as well when they put him in motion, but they also want to use him as a decoy.
Well, we just saw Kurt Fitzpatrick, the head coach, first year at Colgate. This is a pretty cool night for him in a homecoming. Just over the outstretched arms of the linebacker Antoine Delorier. It's a completed pass to Winston Moore. Colgate moves the chains on a 12-yard pickup.
And a good job by the offensive line, giving Osborne the time he needs to look down the field. He gets the ball right over the linebacker's head. He jumps up. He almost has that football. A good job delivering a strike right over his hands to his receiver, where only his receiver can make a play on it, right in front of the defensive back, number 16, Chris Pearce.
Well, Delorier has a 32-inch vertical. He needed to have it about 33 inches to get a piece of it. So Colgate moving the football near midfield. That's a backward pass. Looking for a double pass, but the Orange sniffed it out. Saunders goes down as Brahim Long comes in from his safety spot for the tackle for loss.
And 2 great plays on defense. Brahim Long made the play, getting over to the football, but also another great play by Demetrius Samuel, number 1. He stayed on top of the receiver. He did not go for the short pass behind the line of scrimmage. He stayed home, and they had nowhere to go with the football. A good job not throwing that football, because he would not have had anywhere to go with the football, but it started with Demetrius Samuel staying on top of his man and not going for the ball fake.
8-yard loss. Cole Fulton, a sophomore from Poland, Ohio, now into the game at running back. Down the field looking for Saunders, into traffic. Intercepted. It's Long once again, making a big play for Syracuse. It is Syracuse's first interception of the season. First career interception for Long. He's made consecutive big plays, and the first takeaway of the night has Syracuse in business. Seconds, the Huskies looked like they were going to steamroll their way to a road win over the Orange. There were boo birds in this building, but Syracuse came back. Yasin Willis with a touchdown, and then Justice Ross Simmons on the receiving end of a couple of touchdowns. That's the game winner in overtime. UConn's last-ditch attempt broken up by the freshman Delorier. And they could exhale, but the players couldn't go into the locker room to celebrate because Fran Brown said, "You had not upheld what I was looking for out of you," and made them run for a couple of minutes after the game. And there is the second-year head coach coming off a 10-win season to start. Ball came loose on first down, and Colgate says it has it, and indeed it does. The Raiders with a takeaway immediately after the interception worked in Syracuse's favor. The Raiders have the football back. Kenny Langston hopped on the loose ball.
What's interesting on this play, he got hit behind the line of scrimmage. There were 2 defenders right there before he could break the line of scrimmage. And it looked like he did not see those defenders coming from the side, but you've got to squeeze that football if you're a running back. You cannot allow the ball to pop out like that. But see, he didn't see those defenders coming from the side, and I think one of them were able to get their arm in there and poke that ball out. Good job by the defenders on the outside, poking the football out.
Yeah, I think that was Elijah Hamilton. We've already called his name 3 times. He played for former NFL receiver Ed McCaffrey at Valor Christian High School outside of Boulder, Colorado. Fulton back in at running back. He goes straight ahead, and the pile moves to about the 35-yard line. 7 yards on the gain.
And this is where I thought Colgate could possibly attack that defense right in the gut between those A-gaps. That's where Syracuse has had some issue with stopping the run in those A-gaps. So if I'm Colgate, I'm going to continue to push the ball down those A-gaps and make them bring those linebackers down inside. That will open up opportunities for Osborne.
Winston Moore split wide to the bottom of your screen. We've got a flag down. Pre-snap penalty against Colgate.
False start. Offense. Number 76. 5-yard penalty. Second down.
That is their second. This time it's the right tackle, Ryan Steinbrink, Jr. from Columbus. And there's again a look at Kurt Fitzpatrick, former quarterback at nearby Fulton High School. He wore the number 5 in high school and at college at St. John Fisher because he was a Syracuse football fan. And he loved Marvin Graves and he loved Donovan McNabb. They wore 5, so he wore 5. Max Walters out there, number 84, senior receiver from Indianapolis. Osborne flushed. He's going to run for it. Room to run inside the 30-yard line.
And once again, what you're seeing, they're bringing Sanders across the formation. That gets all of the attention on the outside. Osborne feels the pressure, immediate pressure from the outside. The left tackle giving up a short corner, but Osborne is able to get around the edge with that speed. And one of the things he's doing that the coaching staff wanted, once again, run the football, but avoid contact.
And a nice job by their star receiver, Treyvhon Saunders, out there blocking, really running interference to help an 11-yard run by the quarterback. Now they do a little pitch and catch to Saunders, breaks a tackle down the sideline to about the 20-yard line. Deuce Chestnut couldn't bring him down. And so it's yards after the catch, 7-yard pickup for the All-American out of Bishop Hartley High School in Columbus.
And they're creating that matchup. Once again, you've got Saunders against a safety. That's the matchup they're looking for. Anytime they bring Saunders in motion, they're going to read the coverage. Pre-snap reads is what Osborne is doing. He's looking to see who's covering up his receiver. If he sees a favorable matchup, he's going to get the ball out to Saunders.
Pressure picked up for now. Now Osborne has to just get rid of the football, throws it out of bounds. Here's our Week 3 ACC Network football lineup. It begins tomorrow at noon Eastern with Virginia hosting William & Mary. Then Bill Belichick and the North Carolina Tar Heels host the Richmond Spiders. At 7:30, Virginia Tech hosts Old Dominion in Blacksburg, and will cap the night with Boston College out of the West Coast against Stanford in Palo Alto, 10:30 Eastern time. All 4 games are also available on the all-new ESPN app. And before the third down play, Colgate uses a timeout. And we'll take a break. A big play coming up for the Raiders. All-American receiver Treyvhon Saunders is now 16 away from Colgate's all-time career receptions record, held by Luke Graham, and at the rate Saunders is going, he's going to catch him in a week or two. He's a young man who decided to come back to Colgate despite lots of offers when he was in the transfer portal this spring, but he decided to be loyal and still try to fulfill his NFL dream by finishing out what he started in Hamilton, New York. On 3rd down and 3, Osborne has his man who drops the football. It's Max Walters who had it right in his midst, but that'll bring up 4th down and 3.
And Colgate had what they wanted. Syracuse showed 8 in the box. They had 1 deep safety playing press man on the outside. He had what he wanted across the middle, maybe a little bit on that football, a little extra on that football, but Walters has to be able to squeeze that and help his quarterback out on that play.
So it'll be a 39-yard field goal attempt for Luke Vogler, the junior from Caledonia, Michigan. His long coming into the day was 42, and he buries that one in the net. And Colgate takes advantage of the fumble. They had a short field and put 3 points on the board.
Well, Syracuse showed them prior to that timeout the defensive personnel that they were going to have in the football game with the 1 deep safety and playing press man on the outside, daring them. And you saw the short crossing route by Max Walters. He was able to get through the mesh and find an open space for his quarterback. The ball is not going to be perfect, and he may have heard footsteps because you're in there where all that traffic is, because one of the things Syracuse did do, they brought their linebackers up on the line of scrimmage, but at the snap, they dropped back into coverage. So they showed blitz, but they dropped back into coverage, making that offensive line think a little bit. But a good job by Osborne, but the receiver has to help his quarterback out.
Well, Osborne did what he needed to do after the fumble, moved them 20 yards to get into field goal range. And the 39-yard boot has the Raiders within 4. 5:48 remaining in the first quarter. Doug Sherman along with Forrest Connolly. Glad you're with us on a Friday night in Central New York. Tyshawn Russell back deep to receive the kick from Vogler. And he's going to come forward. It's a returnable kick from about the 6-yard line. And he is leveled at the 17. What coverage by the running back, and transfer from UConn, Danny Shaben.
And Danny Shaben's out here playing grown man football right here. You've got to keep your head on the swivel when you're on kickoff right there. I mean, that is one of those old school slobber knockers right there.
Well, he has been a pleasant surprise for this Colgate coaching staff. Kurt Fitzpatrick singled him out yesterday in our meetings. And not only is he a running back, he's also a wild man on special teams. Jaden Hart making his first appearance with the limited running backs on the roster for Syracuse. Willis and James are out. Swing it out near side to Tyshawn Russell. Good pickup on 1st down. Brought down at about the 24-yard line by Zach Jones. A 7-yard gain.
A good job blocking on the perimeter by the receivers on the outside. You've got to help your teammate out there get a body in front of a body.
Give it to the sophomore from Michigan City, Indiana. Big hole in the middle for Jaden Hart before Dane Piccarello closed it up. A 9-yard first down run.
You see good movement by the middle of that offensive line. And I'd like to see big fella number 76, Byron Washington, 6'6", 6'7", 400 pounds, getting up on those second-level defenders, covering them up.
Angeli on 1st down, throws near sideline, has a man in stride. It is the 17-year-old defensive back making his first appearance on offense for Syracuse, Demetrius Samuel, and he's got a first down. Well, that's what everybody in Syracuse has been waiting to see. Number 1 play offense. And Angeli has been working with him as flags come flying, just raving about the ability, not just the physical ability, but the mental skills of number 1 on both sides of the football.
False start. Offense. Number 69. 5-yard penalty. First down.
That's TJ Ferguson.
And one of the things Coach Brown said is he told Samuel, I want you not to be afraid to be great. Even the older players were coming to him and telling him, look, we want you to be a leader. you're better than we are.
That's what Deuce Chestnut told him. Told us the same thing.
Exactly. So they want him to step up and be the leader that he has the ability to be.
They throw away from him. Samuel went the other way on the crossing pattern. They find the running back Jaden Hart out of the backfield for a 4-yard pickup. Tymier Wynn, the other Colgate player who their staff thinks is going to get a shot at the NFL. Number 6 in white on the tackle.
And the coaching staff talked about him being excited about this opportunity to match up against some Power 4 talent and show his skill set.
Steve Angeli has completed 6 passes to 6 different receivers to begin the ball game. 3:45 remaining. Now he's going to call his own number, run it right up the gut. Tackled at the 49-yard line. And once again, it's Elijah Hamilton, the 5th year from Parker, Colorado.
And a good job by the offensive line covering up your man, knowing who to block. Angeli, it looked like that was a design draw play. A good job by the back, Will Nixon, getting up to the second-level defender, covering him up, giving a lane for Angeli to get to the.
We get our first look of the night at Jalen Hornsby, the redshirt freshman from Winslow Township, who played so well against UConn late last week. Check down to Dan Villari, the tight end, coming off of his career performance. It's another Syracuse first down on the 7-yard hookup.
And right now, this tempo is working for Syracuse. They've got that quick pass game going. They're lining up on the line of scrimmage, not allowing the defense to get set, and they're going.
Well, Villari, coming out of high school on Long Island, originally committed to Fordham as a quarterback. Won the state championship in this building, then went to Michigan before coming back to the Empire State as a tight end. It's another tackle for Elijah Hamilton. After Tatum Johnson couldn't bring down Angeli, who picked up a couple of yards on the play. 2nd down and 8. Angeli looking left, throwing left, through the hands of Hornsby. Talk about hearing or feeling footsteps. Maybe that was in his mind that time.
Yeah, but you've got to squeeze that football, and I talked about it. You've got to help your quarterback out. Your quarterback has to be able to know that you're going to catch that football and you want to get down. Sometimes you're going to have to take a tough hit, but that's all about the game and doing your 111th.
Offsides on Colgate. The free play goes toward the end zone. A leaping grab by Darrell Gill Jr. Touchdown, Orange. Well, why not throw it up to your 6'3", 190-pound receiver and let him make a play?
And in the words of my old teammate, you've got mossed. This is tremendous. Climbing the ladder, grabbing the football on top of the defender. Great concentration by Darrell Gill to get up there and grab that football. And you see him stepping on into the end zone. Great play. Tatum Johnson, there was nothing else he could do.
Well, he had a late 2-point conversion in the comeback win over UConn. That was a 43-yard touchdown to bring out Trip Woody for his 2nd point after of the night. It's good. The score is Syracuse 14, Colgate 3.
And one of the things is Angeli knew he had a free play, so why not go for the home run? And a good job. You see Gill right there jumping up over the defensive back. And Tatum Johnson is right there. I mean, there's really nothing else he could do on that play. That's just a better play by the offensive player. He went up and snatched that ball out the air, climbed the ladder. He was able to walk on into the end zone. You know, I mean, hey, what can you say? You got mossed.
Well, Gill's one of the Syracuse football players who also competes in track and field in the spring. And you see the type of athletic ability on display in that sensational touchdown catch and run.
And the way he jumped, it was effortlessly. And that lets you know the skill set, and I can see him being a great track athlete, the way he was able to get up in the air and grab that football.
So Jaden O, who was put on scholarship this past spring, will kick it off to Winston Moore. Moore is lightning in a bottle back there for Colgate, although gives the T signal and lets the ball go over his head. Tomorrow morning, the ACC Huddle crew will be in Atlanta at Bobby Dodd Stadium to get you ready for another full day of football with a 2-hour pregame show. They'll have game previews along with expert analysis and feature stories right here on ACCN and the all-new ESPN app. And I imagine they will see that catch one more time by big number 15. And he's right down about where the one basket is when this building hosts the Syracuse Orange basketball team. He could have easily dunked on that one. Number 1, Zach Osborne, the senior quarterback who has battled a lot of injuries throughout his college career, throws a dangerous pass. Davian Kerr was closing fast. It's an incompletion.
In the last couple of passes, Zach Osborne looked like he's predetermining where he's wanting to go with the football as opposed to reading what the defense is giving him.
Well, through Colgate's first 2 games of the season, both losses to nationally ranked FCS opponents, he did complete nearly 60% of his passes. 4 touchdowns, no interceptions coming into the night. He has been picked off once so far this evening. Play action on 2nd down. Good coverage to break up that pass intended for Winston Moore, but right there on time, Cornell Perry. And he's getting extra reps again tonight with Devin Grant still sidelined at the safety position.
And a good job by Perry getting right there when the ball got there, not getting there prematurely, waiting for the ball to get to the receiver before getting his hand in there to knock it down.
Caden Brown, a sophomore linebacker from Queens, New York, number 33 out there for the first time. 3rd down and long. Syracuse rushes 4 and they get home. Jamie Tremble, the two-way player, tight end, now linebacker, with his first career sack. It's an 8-yard loss, and that SU defense gets off the field.
And you see right there, the offensive tackle overset to the outside. You've got to keep your shoulders square. When you overset thinking about the speed rush, he was able to make a quick move on the inside. Will Marshall has to set with square shoulders. You cannot overset, because when you do, you give up that inside.
Well, we are seeing the Travis Hunter effect right here in Syracuse. We have 2 different Orange players playing both ways, and now that Colorado opened up that door last year, many players are going through it. Nice return by Davian Kerr. Syracuse will bring the offense back out inside the 40-yard line. Terry Mowry in coverage for the Raiders. Yeah, your quarterback also played point guard for Florida State to great effect, played in the NBA. Charlie Ward for many, many years. But the way college football has changed based on what Deion Sanders allowed for his star player to do at Jackson State and then at Colorado the last couple of years, you see all sorts of two-way players around the country now, including Jamie Tremble here at Syracuse and Demetrius Samuel as well.
And I think one of the things that made Hunter so different was he was standout on both sides of the football. He just didn't play on both sides. He was standout. These players have the potential to be that as well. It's going to take time, but you love to see guys getting the opportunity to fulfill their dreams of being two-way players.
Let's see if the Orange try to put this one away. Once again, it's Gill on the receiving end, still on his feet to the 16-yard line. Angeli hooks up once again to number 15 for a 20-yard gain.
And watch how he's airborne. He's making these catches look extremely graceful. He's gliding up in the air, snatching the ball out of the air, breaking tackles, running sideways, and getting more yards up the field.
Reese Allen missed the tackle, finally brought down by Kenny Langston. Syracuse keeping it on the ground. Good forward movement, keeping the feet moving by Will Nixon for a 5-yard gain. Joe Kelly, the defensive tackle from Wilmette, Illinois, on the tackle.
And a good job by number 78, Joe Cruz, on the pull with the trap block right there to open up that lane for him to cut back.
So I'll ask you, Fo, how hard do you think it is for these two-way players to play 60, 70 snaps in a game?
It depends on conditioning. You've got to be a well-conditioned athlete, a well-oiled athlete, and you have to know what you're doing.
On second down, Angeli hands it off. Good collision at about the 5-yard line. It's a first down for Will Nixon.
And when I say, Doug, know what you're doing, understand the play call defensively.
First and goal for Steve Angeli. And this Orange offense keep it on the ground. Nixon, he's grabbed by the ankle at about the 5-yard line, holding on tight to make sure that the fifth-year senior couldn't get out of it. No gain on the play.
You know, Doug, I expect Coach Brown to run this ball 3 straight times. You want to work on your goal line offense. You want to let your line know we want to be able to depend on you guys to be able to get 5 yards, to get the ball into the end zone, in the red zone.
Well, in that first quarter, Fran Brown went deep into his roster, as you'd expect in a game like this with an FBS team hosting an FCS team. Over 50 players got into the game in that first quarter for the Orange. Gill in motion, comes set in the slot left. Fake the handoff to Nixon. Angeli does well to hold on to the football, and a flag comes in at the point of contact as Kenny Langston, the strong safety, made contact up high on the QB.
Personal foul, roughing the passer, defense, number 22. The penalty is half the distance to the goal and an automatic first down.
They have to make this call because he hit him in the helmet, but he did not mean to. Angeli jumped up. I don't know if that is a personal foul. When you look at the play, and they took away what would have been their first sack of the season. I thought it was a good by Kenny Langston. I don't know of anything else he could have done on that play. It wasn't malicious, but they're going to make the call because he hit him in the helmet.
Toss to Nixon, and he walks in with flags in the end zone. We'll see if this touchdown stands. Syracuse went with its heavy package, knew they were going to run the football, but will the touchdown get called off?
That penalty's declined. Result of the play is a touchdown.
So the two-time transfer, former Nebraska Cornhusker, former Washington Husky, walks into the end zone for 6 more.
You see the zone blocking by the offensive lineman. You see them slide to the right, zone blocking, get to their man, cover them up, and get movement up the field. That's all you can ask for with that zone blocking scheme. Get to your edge, get to your zone, cover your body up, and get movement at the point of attack.
Trip Woody back out. Out of the hold of the punter, Jack Stonehouse. Woody is now a perfect 3-4-3. Well, Fran Brown told us yesterday in our production meeting that it looked like it was supposed to look this week in practice, and he was pleased with how they responded coming out of the UConn game. What have you seen through the first quarter plus in that regard, Bo?
I've seen guys leaving it on the field, and that's what he talked about. He said, hey, we didn't leave it all out on the field, so the little bit that I thought we didn't leave on the field, we're going to do some wind sprints to get the rest of it out of them. And you see the positive response. And that was one of the things that we wanted to know is how did the team respond? And the team responded in a positive manner. One of the things that he said that he talked to the team about at halftime was they were acting like they were scared to lose after that tough ball game against Tennessee. And so he told those guys, hey, go out here and do what we're supposed to do. And he said in the fourth quarter, that's when they looked like the team that he expected to show up last week when the first quarter began.
Well, Fran Brown said the number one thing we need, unwavering love for each other, as that kick lands in the end zone. Steve Angeli off to a flying start to the night as quarterback for Syracuse for us.
What he's done is taken what the defense has given him, and he's delivered strikes down the field. There have been opportunities for his receivers to help him. You see right there, he gets the ball to the receiver on the outside, and he gets the ball again to the receiver where he can make a play after the catch. Too often you see quarterbacks getting the ball to the receiver where they don't have any opportunities afterwards. And here, one of the great catches right now, Darrell Gill gets up and mosses Tatum Johnson once again. Great play, and he looks like a gazelle gliding up in the air, grabbing that football.
7 different receivers have caught a pass from Angeli already tonight, including Demetrius Samuel for the first time as a college player. Great coverage on Saunders. Raheem Long with another big play for Syracuse.
And Syracuse did on that play. They've got bracket coverage on Saunders now. They've got someone underneath and a safety help over the top. They're not going to allow Saunders to beat them on the outside. That's what you have to do when you've got a dynamic player that you're playing against on offense. You've got to cover him up from the underneath and on top. Don't allow him to get loose.
Backup safety Ibn McDaniel's out for this series as a slot defender on the near side. In motion goes Shaven. Quarterback looks that way, now comes back the other way, kept the play alive nicely and picks up a first down to Reed Swanson, a junior out of Glen Gardner, New Jersey. And I'll tell you what, Colgate has been able to move the football so far tonight.
And I think he showed the blitz just a little bit too early. It allowed Osborne to know where the pressure was coming from. And what he did, he waited till he got to him, sidestepped him, and was able to get the ball down the field.
Here comes Shaven again. He is chopped down to the ground by Samuel, a freshman from Palm Bay, Florida, who started at college as a 16-year-old in January. What were you doing at 16? Were you in college? Could you have been in college? My goodness.
I was playing but my junior year of football, trying to get a college to look at me and give me an opportunity.
And they were looking at you. Syracuse was among those
Absolutely.
that really wanted you to come here. And you came. You came for a recruiting visit.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. Syracuse was the first school offering me a scholarship, so I definitely came and obliged. Great opportunity, great time here.
And I'm sorry for you. You chose Florida State instead. On second down, Osborne rolling right. In pursuit, Kevin Jobity. Treyvhon Saunders once again is the target. We asked in the meeting yesterday of Kirk Fitzpatrick, how do you avoid making him all you look for? He's so good. How do you diversify your offense when number 9 is such a tremendous player?
He really didn't have an answer for us.
Right.
Because you want to get him the football as much as possible. But I think you have to continue to look to use him as a decoy because he attracts so much attention.
A little more youth and athleticism at linebacker position, coming off the edge in a passing situation, showing blitz. Tremble, number 82 on the near side. Brown coming in, number 33. Saunders with the catch at midfield, but he's not going to get to the line to gain, which was the 43-yard line. Good coverage by Samuel after a 6-yard gain, making sure it was not a 10-yard gain.
And impressive by Osborne. He sees the blitz coming. He waits until the last minute. You've got Saunders on the short crossing route. He allows him to clear the defenders before he delivers the football, although he's got immediate pressure. I like Osborne standing tall in the pocket.
Anwar Sparrow among those in the backfield, providing pressure for the Orange. Brendan Castle-Major, the running back, on fourth down as Colgate goes for it. They've got to get to the 43. Osborne to throw. It's deflected in the air and falls incomplete. The tank, Dion Wilson, makes the play.
And the problem with that is the guards in the center have to do a better job of being stout at the point of attack. They've got to allow for the depth of the pocket. They've got to sit down in their stance and not allow pressure to get to the quarterback's face.
Defensively, Dion Tank Wilson with a fourth down deflection to get the Orange defense off the field. Welcome back on a Friday night inside the JMA Wireless Dome with Forrest Connolly. I'm Doug Sherman as Syracuse gets the football back on downs, and Steve Angeli, who has been near perfect so far tonight, back out at quarterback. Gill in motion. Jaden Hart, the running back. He has had a couple of series so far tonight. Fake the handoff to him. Deep shot down the middle. Has a man, and once again it's Gill in stride. Tatum Johnson was a step slow, and the Orange made him pay.
And anytime Angeli sees that matchup with Gill and Johnson, he's going to it because Gill is beating him off the line of scrimmage. You've got to get a jam. You cannot give Gill a free release. He's shown he's got the speed to get past Johnson.
Running tempo after the 43-yard strike. It's Jaden Hurt up the middle for a short gain. Gets it inside the 10-yard line.
And Angeli is throwing strikes down the field. He's dropping the ball right in the breadbasket. You see, all Gill has to do is to continue to run. The ball is coming right down where it needs to. Great job by Angeli delivering where only his receiver can make a play on it.
4 catches, 112 yards, and a touchdown for Darrell Gill Jr. out of Atascocita, Texas. Polari and David Clement, the two tight ends, reset to the right side of the line. Angeli looking right. Throws a wobbly pass intended for Gill, might have been deflected, and so it's incomplete.
And they're going after that matchup again. He sees Gill on the outside with Johnson. He tries to go in for the quick slant route. Just put a little bit too much on that football. If he takes a little bit off of it, I think Gill's able to grab it because he beat him to the inside with an inside move.
Is that being called by the offensive coordinator, Jeff Nixon, or is that as Angeli going after him?
I think it's kind of one of those deals where if Angeli sees it, he's going to go to it.
Philip Tabasso, a backup defensive tackle for Colgate, may have moved into the neutral zone.
Offside. Defense. Number 69. The penalty is half the distance to the goal and third down.
Umari Hatcher, number 5, is in the game at the top of your screen when we show. There he is. Getting a good look at Coach Fitz in his homecoming game. His Raiders up against it, down 21-3. Angeli. Another decisive throw and another one on the money, but Jonte Cook couldn't hold it in. You see the frustration on his face.
And a good job by Connor Rollison, but I think Cook should have squeezed this football. This is a ball you've got to catch. It's right there. It's not the perfect throw, but the old school saying by coaching staffs is if it touches your hand, you should be able to make the catch. And you've got to help your quarterback out on that play.
And so now Trip Woody, who made his first 2 collegiate field goals last week against Connecticut, out for a 22-yard try here tonight. And by the way, he's being coached up by former Orange kicker Dave Jacobs, who is a new volunteer coach on staff. It's working well for Trip Woody as he makes the score 24-3. 5 minutes gone here in the second quarter. In Australia until she could no more. And so our thoughts and best wishes are to the Syracuse women's basketball program and to the friends and family of Tiana. (24-3) Syracuse. The Orange looking for its second win in a row. A week ago here in the Dome, Connecticut led for all but 47 seconds of regulation. It's been completely different so far here tonight, Bo.
Well, this team has seemed to have found themselves. They're playing with rhythm. And we talked about it. As an offensive line, you need game opportunities to get the rhythm and get the gelling that you need to be successful and be able to trust your teammates. And you're seeing that early with this offensive line in this ball game.
Zach Osborne had a receiver able to get his hands on it, but Saunders, who went down to his knees, couldn't hold on to it. Cornell Perry was in coverage.
And they're getting matchups that are favorable. They're getting safeties covering Saunders. That's what they want to do. They want to keep him in the slot. They want to move him around. They want to create favorable matchups. But there's not a lot of time for Osborne to go down the field. So the majority of the routes that we've seen Saunders get have been short crossing routes, the quick pass game.
Two tight ends out there for Colgate. Mason Mozo, number 87. Dave Thompson, number 90. Osborne under duress throws a spiral that is a little bit short of Saunders. Once again, it's Perry, stride for stride, with a young man who hopes to become the first Colgate player taken in an NFL draft since Kenny Gamble way back in 1988.
And Saunders was open briefly, but Osborne doesn't have the opportunity to step into that throw. He's throwing off of his back leg because of immediate pressure by the Syracuse defense. They're doing a good job of not allowing Osborne to have the time that he needs to get the ball down the field and go through any progressions. He's able to get to his first progression. By the time he wants to go to his second progression, he's got pressure on top of him.
Colgate 0 for 4 on third down tonight. Now make it 0 for 5 as that pass completion comes up short. Saunders was not near the line to gain. It's a 7-yard pickup, but Davian Kerr made sure that he stopped him short of the 35-yard line.
And Syracuse will continue to give that up, the short crossing route. Keep him in front of the sticks. Keep everything in front of you. Make the tackle. One of the more dangerous things about Saunders is what he's able to do after he catches the football. So you want to make sure you get him down if he does make the catch.
Tyler Fontenot to punt. And hey, look who's back to return for Syracuse. It's number 1. Fran Brown said that Samuel was going to get a shot. Fields that one cleanly with his momentum. Carries it out of bounds at about the 42-yard line with Tymir Wynn knocking him to the near sideline. A 31-yard punt.
Well, it's been the Darrell Gill show all evening. He showed us with his ability to fly, and Moss, Tatum Johnson, then he gets down the field. You see right here coming across with the short crossing route, the stop and go ability. Then he beats it to the outside with the ball dropped right in by Angeli. He's just doing a good job. And I think what Colgate has to do, they've got to make a decision. Are we going to bracket Gill, or you also have to make a decision? You got to bump him. You cannot give him free releases off the line of scrimmage, because when they see that matchup with Johnson, they're going to it.
On first down, Angeli fakes the handoff. Plenty of time. Now rolls from the pocket, and he'll run out near midfield. About a 9-yard pickup on first down before Reese Allen ran the quarterback out.
And a good job by Colgate to get pressure on Angeli. He wanted to go down the field, but you've got to do a better job of blocking and giving your quarterback the time that he needs. Connor Rollison is able to get late pressure on Angeli.
Another hookup from Angeli to Gill. And so Gill's big night continues.
And on that previous play, Will Nixon made the block, but you've got to maintain that block. If you maintain that block, Angeli had an opportunity to go down the field on the post routes.
Well, it's the biggest half of receiving yardage for a Syracuse player since Gill last year against UConn. He's well over 100 yards and counting. Still with 8 minutes and change remaining in the half. 4-yard pickup there. The all-new ACC PM Monday through Thursday from 6 to 7 Eastern, and Friday's special 2-hour football-focused edition from 5 to 7 Eastern, hosted by Kelsey Rakes Cuff. On second down, Angeli under attack, gets away from the would-be tackler, and the one-handed grab by David Clement. The junior out of CBA in Albany with just his second career reception, and it is a beauty.
And he wanted to go to Jalen Hornsby, but you see he went to his safety valve, David Clement, and he reached up with one hand and pulled that down. And the coaching staff talked about him being their enforcer. He was able to grab that football on that play. Great job helping your quarterback.
Nixon lowers his shoulder and gets a first down. He took on the tackler and won, and Syracuse moves the chains.
And Doug, there have been some opportunities for Angeli to go down the field with the vertical pass game, but Colgate is doing a good job with delayed pressure and not allowing him that extra second or two that he needs to look down the field and get it to his receiver.
Well, first 2 weeks of the season, Angeli was 3 for 9 with no touchdowns on passes thrown at least 20 yards downfield. He has been much better tonight, doing it again, and he's got a man in stride. Once again, it's Darrell 5 yards out.
Classic stop and go. Tatum Johnson went for the stop. You see the pump fake right there by Angeli. And as soon as Tatum Johnson gets caught looking in the backfield, Gill runs right by him. You see him looking right there in the backfield at Angeli. He got caught looking in the cookie jar, and Gill runs right by him for the easy score.
Angeli's 3 touchdown passes tonight, matching his career high, coming off a tremendous passing performance statistically against UConn last week. Well, I think we know who the favorite receiver of Steve Angeli is tonight. It's number 15 in the end zone one more time. Darrell Gill Jr. already with 2 touchdown receptions. That's a career high for the young man from Atascocita, Texas. And he's got his Syracuse Orange on top 31-3 on a Friday night at the JMA Wireless Dome. Student section was here early and a good crowd for a non-Saturday football game. Syracuse has had plenty of Friday night games in recent years. Good for television, good for exposure. Jaden O kicks off. Winston Moore allows it to sail over his head. Another highlight for young Mr. Gill.
Well, what I want you to watch is you see this space right here. That's a lot of space that they're giving up. And what Tatum Johnson is doing, he's been getting beat off the line of scrimmage, so he gives up all of that area, but he gets caught looking in the backfield at Angeli. And once he does look in the backfield and goes for that pump fake, Gill just runs right by him. So once again, they've got to make a decision with Johnson. Either he's going to get up, he's going to play press man, bump him, don't give up a free release, or if he's going to play off, he's got to have help over the top if he's going to stare in the backfield. He cannot play him one-on-one on the outside. They've made that very apparent.
Well, in the first 2 weeks, Gill had 6 catches for 117 yards. He's already surpassed that here tonight. Osborne brought down by Greg Delane for no gain, 2nd down and 10. So Gill tonight, 6 catches, 152 yards, and those 2 touchdowns. And I tell you what, Steve Angeli is starting to really put up numbers that catch your eye. This is the 3rd straight game he's had 6 or more 20-yard completions, tying Kyle McCord for the longest streak by a Syracuse quarterback in the last 20 seasons. Oh, by the way, Kyle McCord led the country in passing yardage last year and is with the Philadelphia Eagles right now. Osborne. Nice job on the receiving end by Swanson at 6'6". He's a big target, went up to get it. Caleb Singleton only 6'1", as the cornerback in coverage couldn't stop him.
And Osborne impressed me once again. He stays in the pocket. He knows where he wants to go with the football. He sees the skinny post to his receiver, Swanson, and Swanson does a good job of getting up in the air and grabbing that football. You got to help your quarterback out. Good job by Swanson, using that big body at 6'6" to get up in the air and grab the football.
4th catch of the year for the junior from Glen Gardner, New Jersey, covering 15 yards. 5.5 minutes remaining in the 2nd quarter. Colgate driving down 31-3. Danny Shabin, one of only 2 transfers on this Colgate roster, and we found it fascinating talking with Kurt Fitzpatrick in our meeting yesterday. As a school, Colgate accepted only 24 transfers last year. They've got about 3,000 students on campus. That's not 24 on the football team. That's 24 for the entire community. And only 2 of them are on his roster. So it's a whole different setup in the Patriot League, and specifically at Colgate University. Keep it on the ground again. Casa Major, a 5th year, who when they say they need 1 yard, they're going to him. Got good pad level, able to power it through. Barry Buxton with the stop. Here's our Week 3 ACC Network football lineup. It begins tomorrow at noon Eastern with Virginia hosting William and Mary, then Carolina against Richmond, Virginia Tech hosting ODU, and then we'll cap the night with BC and Stanford out west, 10:30 Eastern time. All 4 games also available on the all-new ESPN app. On 3rd down, Osborne puts some air underneath it, hoping Max Walters could make a play, but he just couldn't get there. Davian Kerr once again with some tight coverage.
And a good job by the Syracuse defenders. You see they're playing press man. They're staying on top of those offensive players. They're not giving them any space to get down the field. They tried to run a mesh concept to try and get kind of a natural rub off on that play, but a good job by the defenders being able to dissect where those receivers were going and stay on top of it.
Let's see if Davian Kerr can return it. No, he's going to let that punt land at about the 24-yard line. And it'll come to rest and go out of bounds at about the 21. It's a 36-yard punt. Here's our first half summary. Osborne for Colgate has been under duress, been able to move the football some, but the Syracuse offense has been quick strike. It has taken shots down the field successfully. Angeli putting up huge numbers. I would think that early into the 2nd half, at this rate, we will see Ricky Collins make his first appearance as Syracuse quarterback. And as Fran Brown used over 50 players in the 1st quarter, Forrest, I think he was just warming up. We're going to see lots and lots of 3rd and 4th stringers get their opportunities in this game tonight. Angeli with all day. Jonte Cook able to squeeze it that time. Kenny Langston, the strong safety, with the tackle, but it's a 12-yard gain for 1st down.
And Coach Brown did share with us all the players he was going to use in this football game. One of those players being number 76, Byron Washington. And the staff talked about how proud they were of him as he's gotten himself into better shape, into playing shape.
Can't wait for that Clemson Georgia Tech game tomorrow. Will the Tigers offense get it going against a really good Yellow Jackets team on the crossing route? Jalen Hornsby tackled immediately, picks up 3 out to the 35-yard line. Elijah Hamilton, 5th-year linebacker from Parker, Colorado, making another stop.
And this is a good opportunity for the Syracuse offense to run their 2-minute offense. You can practice it, but it's nothing like getting live action.
Give it to Will Nixon. Huge hole straight up the middle. Across midfield. Finally upended across the 40-yard line by Tatum Johnson. Well, I'll tell you what, that foot injury that cost him most of last year is fully healed. Will Nixon fires through the hole.
And a good job by the offensive line. You see the tandem blocks getting up to the second level, covering up those linebackers.
A 28-yard run. Angeli, good coverage downfield, finally has to just step out of bounds with Dane Piccarello, the outside linebacker, top returning tackler for Colgate, on the stop.
And watch the run. You see the guards getting up to the second level, defenders covering them up. That's exactly what you're looking for. Good job by number 76, Brian Washington, the big fella. He was able to get that tandem block, double team, and then get over and cover up that linebacker, giving Nixon the edge that he needed to get up the field.
That was the longest run of the fifth-year senior's career.
2-minute
Spent a couple of
timeout.
years, 2-minute timeout. 2 years with the Cornhuskers, 2 with Washington, but nothing was better than that last run we saw from Nixon. .43-year-old head coach Fran Brown talking to his quarterback Steve Angeli, who's in the midst of a tremendous first half. What's the message you think there for us from head coach to quarterback?
Let's continue to get better. We've got a long way to go. I'm proud of the progress that we've made, but I want to see more. And
Well,
you've got to love that from him.
The Dart mentality, detailed, accountable, relentless, and tough, is what you hear from Coach Brown all day, all night. He lives it, and his players have embodied that, and I'm sure that there's some accountability in every conversation with his players, good or bad. 2nd down and 9. Angeli, the redshirt junior quarterback from Westfield, New Jersey, who spent 3 years in South Bend, Indiana at Notre Dame, now the starter at Syracuse, completes to the tight end, Dan Villari. Down to the 25-yard line. Elijah Hamilton, the tackle, after an 11-yard gain. Syracuse running tempo, clock under 150 in the half. Angeli has a man It's Hornsby for a touchdown. Another 20-plus yard pass play. This one goes for 25, and the Orange are pouring it on after the first career touchdown for Jalen Hornsby.
One of the most difficult passes to defend is an underthrown football. You see Tamir Wynn, he had no chance right there. It was almost like a back shoulder throw, but it was basically underthrown. And you see the receiver Hornsby able to stop and get up in the air, grab the football, and at that point there was nothing Tamir Wynn could do. But it's very difficult for a defensive back to cover an underthrown football.
Woody with another point after. 38-3, Syracuse over its Central New York rival from about 40 miles away in Hamilton, New York. This is a long-time rivalry that since 1950 has not been that much of a rivalry. That's the last time Colgate beat Syracuse.
But when you look at the overall numbers,
pretty even.
It's pretty even, so that lets you know, it was competitive for a while. It just kind of got away from Colgate.
And back in 1978, when college football at the Division I level split to 1A and 1AA, Syracuse made the decision to build this building and go to 1A. Colgate decided to drop to 1AA. And so they have not been on even playing fields for a long, long time. That's nearly 50 years ago. But yeah, Colgate's got a long history of great football. They've put over 70 players into the NFL. Winston Moore going to let this one sail over his head once again. And so now with a minute 43 remaining in the first half, can the Raiders move the football? They have gotten 6 first downs, but they've only got about 90 total yards in the first half, as the Syracuse defense has bent a little here and there, but has not broken it all.
And right now, the big challenge for Colgate is you've got to be careful with the football. You don't want to give up a short field. You don't want to give up an easy turnover. Syracuse knows you want to get vertical with the pass game. You want to try and get more points on the board before the half, but you've got to be very careful if you're Colgate.
George Rooks, David Reese, Kevin Jobity, Richard Perry. The bigs up front defensively for the Orange. Handed off to Fulton. Maybe gains 2 yards on first down. Kevin Jobity had a terrific game against UConn. Had a big sack.
30 seconds.
Timeout is called. He had a big tackle for loss late in that Connecticut win. Junior out of Buffalo, whose father is 6'10". He was a basketball player, a very good one at Niagara University back in the day. Played professionally overseas. And Kevin Jr. at 6'4" is a force on this Syracuse defense. Well, Steve Angeli has spread the football around. A lot of really good catches here tonight, Bo.
And there's that guy up in the air, gliding, and he looks so graceful when he's getting that football and grabbing it out the air. And then the tight end just went up and snatched the football out the air. Great job by David Clement on that play. And his receivers have done a good job of just helping their quarterback, going and getting these footballs when they've been high. Some balls have been, under duress, but they're doing a good job of helping their quarterback.
9 different receivers have caught passes. Gill, though, is the star tonight. On the rollout, it's a complete pass. Winston Moore stays inbounds. The clock continues to run. And now it is stopped.
Timeout, Syracuse.
Syracuse calls timeout with 1:28 remaining in the second quarter.
And Syracuse is working to try and get the ball back one more time for their offense before the half. You see they've used both timeouts. They're trying to get a stop right here on third down.
Well, we see Deuce Chestnut, number 2. Of course, Deuce wears number 2 there. He is the unquestioned leader of the football team, according to Fran Brown, who told us yesterday it's not just the defense. He went away for a year to LSU, started his career at Syracuse for 2 years, then transferred out, and then when the Camden native got head coaching job, Fran Brown, he brought Chestnut back, who's also from Camden, and he has grown into that leadership role. And we had a chance to talk briefly with Deuce yesterday, and you get a sense that he feels as a 5th-year guy it's his turn.
And he has aspirations of playing on Sunday, and Coach Brown talked about him doing the little things, not athletic, to try and get better, studying the game, studying film, trying to get better mentally and understand that aspect of the game.
First down run for Colgate. 5-yard pickup. Tank Wilson made the tackle. Colgate's first third down conversion after missing their first 6 tries. Fake the handoff to Casamajor. Throw it right side. A diving catch is made by Reed Swanson. A beautiful grab.
And Reed Swanson has made some dynamic catches this afternoon. You see Osborne sprinting to the outside, giving himself more time. And look at the big fella, 6'6", able to get out there and stretch out and hold on to the football before he gets out of bounds. Great job helping the quarterback out by Reed Swanson.
That's a 13-yard gain across midfield into Syracuse territory. Clock running under a minute. Take the handoff again to Casamajor. Now taking a shot down the near sideline. No chance for Winston Moore to get there as Chris Peel, the Georgia transfer, was right there alongside. Cornell Perry coming over from his safety position.
And right now Syracuse is dropping 2 safeties. They're keeping everything in front of them. They'll give up the short pass game, but they're not going to allow anything to get over the top.
So now Cole Fulton, the running back in there. Swanson, who has made some big catches, is the receiver to the bottom of your screen. Big target at 6'6". Going to the right side, though. Looked like the pass was there. Winston Moore just couldn't haul it in. Demetrius Samuel with another stop.
And you see once again Syracuse dropping back into that zone coverage. Good job by Samuel reaching in and knocking that ball down. This kid has a special talent. When you think about how old he is and the plays that he's making on both sides of the football, we've seen him on offense tonight. This kid has the opportunity to be a very, very special player for this program.
Yeah, he's got 2 PBUs tonight. Coach Brown said from week 1 to week 2 and then week 2 to week 3, he continues to be more comfortable and confident. Fulton breaks tackles. It's another Colgate first down.
And, you know, talking about Samuel, one of the things Coach Brown said as well is he was playing off. And he told him, he said, you know, we want you to get up there and play press man. You don't have to play off. Don't be scared. Be who you are. Don't be scared to make mistakes.
This is their first time out of the half. 30 seconds.
Colgate calls a 30-second timeout, and there are the numbers for Samuel. And Coach Brown said that...
Correction. Second timeout for Colgate. They have 1 remaining.
UConn has 1 timeout remaining. That Samuel, last week against UConn, again, he's 17, still had some nerves. Felt like this week he was finally getting past that. We have seen him play free and loose so far tonight.
And what I like is Deuce Chestnut and some of the older players are going to him and telling him, you know, be special. You know, understand that you have that special skill that a lot of us don't have. But you've got to be comfortable with going out there and displaying it. And I love the way that the coaching staff said that he's accepting that challenge now. And he's getting more and more comfortable with being that guy that he has the ability to be.
7-play, 36-yard drive for Colgate. Osborne throws down the sideline into double coverage. Treyvhon Saunders showing why he is an FCS All-American. What a catch.
And a good job by Osborne climbing the pocket, trusting his pass protection. And you see Saunders in between 2 defenders. They had the perfect coverage. They had bracket coverage. You had a cornerback underneath, and you had safety help over the top. Long and Kerr were right there, but he's able to get the ball in between 2 defenders.
26 yards on that play to Treyvhon Saunders. 27 seconds to go in the half. On the crossing route, little slant. Pass complete down to the 6-yard line. Brady Hutchinson on the receiving end.
Now watch this play. You've got Kerr and you've got Long out there. So you've got safety help over the top. You've got the cornerback underneath, and he's still able to squeeze the ball in between both of them. And another thing that's impressive about that play is Osborne trusting his offensive lineman, climbing the pocket, and delivering a strike in between 2 defenders. The safety was coming up, but he got the ball there right before the safety could get there. But the safety has to react a bit faster and get over there. There's nobody else there. You know that's the go-to receiver. You see the quarterback climbing the pocket. You've got to take off and get over there and be able to knock that ball down.
Well, Treyvhon Saunders getting an opportunity. The only time Colgate will play an FBS or Power Conference opponent. He wears the number 9 to honor his late mother, Danielle, who died of ALS in 2019. on the 9th of May. And at that point, Treyvhon switched his uniform from number 14. His mom, Danielle, remains his inspiration. Second down. Osborne to the end zone, has a man. It is incomplete. Going for the 6'6", Reed Swanson once again. Samuel that time up to the challenge.
And it's the right route. He just ran out of room. But you've got your big 6'6" receiver out there. He just ran a tad bit out of room. And I think Osborne, if he would have been able to get rid of the football a little bit earlier, he may have given him an opportunity to try and go up over the defender, Samuel, to make that catch.
Well, Dennis Jacquez, the defensive end, maybe made him pass a little off timing. And so now third down with 15 seconds remaining in the half. Osborne floats it up again. Flags are down. Picked off by Samuel in the end zone, and he's going to bring it out. No, they say the play is dead, and we'll see what the laundry is all about at the 10-yard line. Boy, Samuel was thinking about 105 yards the other way.
And I wonder if it's holding, because you had a lot of crossing routes by those receivers, and it may have been a defender grabbing a hold of one of those receivers.
There are two. Correction. Personal foul. Chop block. Offense. Number 29 and 73. That penalty is declined. Run to the play is an interception for Syracuse.
So Demetrius Samuel has his first reception as a collegiate player, and now he's got his first interception.
Interesting. There's a lot going on that play, and when you see the chop block, you can't have one lineman engaged and another lineman go low.
Miles Salinas is number 73, and we think it was number 28, Cole Fulton, not number 29. And Samuel's thinking, why couldn't I return that 105 yards? Nonetheless, it doesn't dampen the spirits of the young man from Palm Bay, Florida. And so now Syracuse content to take a knee and run out the final 9 seconds of the half. It's been all orange in this Central New York matchup. Steve Angeli, 17 of 5 that you're talking about, 4 touchdowns, 2 of them to Gill, who had 6 catches for 152 yards. As we get the third quarter underway, Tyshawn Russell at the goal line will run it out for Syracuse. Good head of steam out across the 20-yard line, and let's see if number 9 in blue comes back out to start the third quarter. The Orange used 59 players in that first half, and I'm guessing that they are just warming up. If the score stays as is, and there is number 9, Steve Angeli, the former Notre Dame Fighting Irish, who had huge shoes to fill coming in and taking the place of Kyle McCord. But with this system and with Jeff Nixon as the OC, it seems like the pieces are there to be a high-octane offense again this year.
And one of the things I think the offensive line wanted to work on is cohesiveness, and you've seen that throughout this football game. And that's why Angeli's been able to be so successful. He's had time in the backfield to set his feet, go through his progressions, and get the ball down the field. Something we saw this Syracuse team start to do in the fourth quarter and overtime of last week's game.
Dan Villari with his first catch of the second half, and as you mentioned, against UConn last week, he was the number 1 target. Caught 7 passes for over 100 yards. Big stick behind the line of scrimmage by Trooper Price, the junior linebacker from Ponte Vedra, Florida, averaging 10 tackles per game.
And you see pressure up the field. One of the things that the Syracuse offensive line has not done a great job. They've had times where they've done a good job, but not an overall great job. Is getting movement at the point of attack in the middle of that offensive line. They've had a big player too, but they have not been able to get consistent movement.
Demetrius Weatherspoon, the right tackle, Howard University transfer from a couple of years ago where he was an HBCU All-American, will now walk off the field. Cam Pringle, number 77, has come on to take his place for now.
And you're talking about some massive human beings. Cam Pringle comes into the game 6'8", 335 pounds. We've mentioned Byron Washington, 6'7", 400. Demetrius Weatherspoon, who's going out right now, he's 6'7", 320. Treyvhon Mack, who's not playing tonight, is 6'6", 320. Naquil Betran is 6'6", 320. TJ Ferguson, 6'4", 320. Joshua Miller, 6'4", 320.
On third down, Angeli straight forward for the first down. And you didn't even talk about the tight ends. David Clement, 6'6", 260. Dan Villari, 6'4", 245. Some big eaters up there for Syracuse.
Absolutely. And what you look for when you're looking at offensive linemen, I don't want guys that eat with forks and spoons. I want guys that eat with their hands. You know, because that's what you're going to need to be successful down in those trenches.
Well, what was your playing weight at Florida State?
340.
Man. Angeli all day, flag down in the backfield. Pass was deflected as it was intended for Treyvhon Russell. That was Caleb Procaccini, the senior from Lakeville, Massachusetts, getting his hand on the pass.
Holding. Offense. Number 89. 10-yard penalty. First down.
The call from our referee, Rory Bernard. Gabe Daniels with the penalty.
And what Villari has to do is keep his hands inside the shoulder pads. When you get your hands out on the shoulders, on the shoulder pads on the outside, the referees are going to call it every time. You've got to keep them inside the chest plate.
First and long. Angeli takes a big shot as he gets rid of the football. Gabe Daniels was all over him. Check that. It was Trooper Price given that pressure, and that's when you're a Syracuse coach saying, do we really want to keep Angeli out that much longer to take shots like that? On second and long, set up the screen to Nixon with blockers, gets back across the original line of scrimmage out about the 37-yard line before the strong safety Kenny Langston stopped him after a 17-yard gain.
And that's the way you nullify an aggressive pass rush. You allow those guys to get up the field. You want to sell. You see the offensive linemen, they're selling like they're getting ready to pass block, but you want to let those guys slide by. Now, the one thing they did not do on that play, they got up the field, but you've got to find work when you get up the field. You can't just be out there. You've got to go out there and put a body on a body.
Now third and manageable. They've got to get out to the 45-yard line. Angeli fires a strike, incomplete. Looked like Treyvhon Russell should have hauled that one in.
He was trying to make a play before he had possession of the football. He saw where he wanted to go after he made the catch. He just didn't make the catch. You see him right here. He's looking where he's trying to go down the field. You've got to squeeze that football. You can't worry about the defender coming across. I think he saw Zach Jones flash in front of him as well, but he also looked like he was trying to go up the field without having possession of the football.
And so have we seen the end of Steve Angeli for the night. Jack Stonehouse to punt. Brady Hutchison back deep to receive at the Colgate 15-yard line. Stonehouse, other than holding on punts and field goals, has had a quiet night. How about that punt? Drops it at the 3-yard line, but it goes into the end zone. 64 yards off the right foot of number 41. Here is our Week 3 ACC Network football lineup. It begins tomorrow, noon Eastern, with Virginia hosting William and Mary, and then Bill Belichick and the North Carolina Tar Heels look to make it 2 in a row. They host Richmond at 7:30. Virginia Tech looking for its first win of the young season, home against Old Dominion. And then we'll cap the night out in Palo Alto. Stanford and Boston College kick off at 10:30 Eastern time. All 4 games are also available on the all-new ESPN app. Jake Sterney, the new quarterback for Colgate. 6'3" junior from Chicago, one of several players on this Colgate roster out of Loyola Academy. Now, he started 9 games a year ago, completed 65% of his passes, but that was for a team that only won a couple of games, and so he was beaten out by fellow returner Zach Osborne to be the #1 quarterback to start this season for the Gate. Out there with the starting running back, Brendan Casamajor, on play action. He's got number 9, Treyvhon Saunders, in stride. Saunders putting up big numbers again. Davian Kerr is who he's working on to pick up 7 yards.
And because of the success on that first run on first down, you see the offensive line and the linebackers react to it. You've got man coverage on the outside with your best receiver, Saunders. And once he makes that move to the outside, a good job by Sterney getting the ball to him to get the first down.
7 catches, 59 yards for the senior from Columbus, 4th-year Raider who wanted to stay in Hamilton, get his degree from Colgate, which means a whole heck of a lot, and still pursue his dream of getting to the NFL. Brady Hutchison, senior from Orange, Connecticut, ridden out of bounds by Demetrius Samuel. It's a 6-yard gain.
And a good job on the curl route. And I like what I'm seeing from Casamajor, giving his quarterback enough time. He got enough of a chip on that defender blitzing to allow him the opportunity, Sterney, to get to the outside.
Sterney flushed from the pocket. And now he's going to run, get what he can out across the 40-yard line with Delorier in pursuit. Well, as we talked about in the first half, this is a homecoming for Kurt Fitzpatrick, who has made his entire coaching career in upstate New York. Born in Fulton, about 30 miles from here. Was a quarterback at St. John Fisher. That's a Division III school in Rochester. And then the head coach at SUNY Morrisville. And he won a national title in 2023 at SUNY Cortland. And after winning that, Fran Brown reached out to him by text to congratulate him. And that was a relationship that began then, that this past offseason amounted to Brown offering Fitzgerald a job on his staff at Syracuse. But at about that same time, Colgate came calling and said, "We want you to be our head coach." And so he decided to go to Hamilton and try to turn this program around. And it's been another opportunity for him to keep his family in Central New York. And so, as we talked about in the first half, he was a Syracuse fan. Everybody in this part of the state is a Syracuse fan.
Well,
and I asked him, "Do you still have any Syracuse gear at your house?" Because you know he does. And he sheepishly admitted, "Yes, I have one long sleeve Syracuse t-shirt that's buried in my closet, but it's for basketball, not for football." So it's a dream come true for him to be a Division I head coach inside of the Dome.
And you know what I thought was funny when we talked to Coach Brown about it? He said, "Yeah, I did want him to come here and work with me." And we talked about it.
Flag goes down after the 4th down stop.
He said, "Now I just want to beat him. We're not going to make this the Fitzpatrick show when he comes here to play us." So you got to love that by Coach Brown.
Well, it's been a part of what Fran Brown has done since coming to Syracuse nearly 2 years ago. He has gotten fully involved at all levels of football across all of upstate New York. He recruits the state, has his players or his coaches recruit the state, not just Central New York.
After the play, unsportsmanlike conduct, offense, number 21. 15-yard penalty from the end of the run, first down Syracuse. That is number 21's first unsportsmanlike foul of the game toward disqualification.
So that's the running back, Danny Shaven. Watch number 21.
And that's just frustration right there at this point. Uncalled for, and I'm sure Coach Fitzpatrick will address that with him. You know, these young men want to compete so bad. They want to do well. It's a great opportunity for them, but you've also got to make sure you keep it between the whistles.
And so Steve Angeli plays on as Syracuse's offense comes back out with the short field from the 26-yard line. Throws to the far sideline. It's another Syracuse drop. Hit him right in the chest. Jalen Hornsby, once again the redshirt freshman from Winslow Township, New Jersey, unable to make the catch.
And Hornsby's had a couple of drops this afternoon. You've got to concentrate on that football. You've got to squeeze the football.
Well, we just for a moment saw Darian Williams, one of the locals who Coach Brown wanted to make sure he got onto the Syracuse roster. Kid from just down the road at CBA. He came out for one play. Jaden Hart, the running back. Angeli going to go to the air again, this time to the near side, to his money man for the day. Darrell Gill couldn't make that catch. Justin Tola, the junior cornerback from Toledo, was with him.
And that ball was a bit behind Gill. You saw him adjust his body, try and contort himself to make that catch. But I think if Angeli puts a little bit more air under the football and leads him to the back of the end zone, that would have been an easy pitch and catch. But you see right there, he had to try to contort his body and twist around. He should have led him a little bit more on that pass.
Keep an eye on number 1, top of your screen, Demetrius Samuel, the freshman getting his first reps at wide receiver tonight. He's got a catch already this evening. And in the slot on the right, number 7, the local from right here in Syracuse, Darian Williams. Angeli on 3rd and 10. Throws it over the middle to Williams, and the freshman's got his first catch and his first touchdown in his hometown of Syracuse.
And that's a great route by Williams. All he did was find the hole in the zone and run right to that spot. And Angeli knew exactly where he wanted to go with the football. He squeezed it right in between those defenders. But a good job of Williams knowing where to go, knowing where the hole was going to be, and making himself available for his quarterback.
Williams is the 10th different receiver to catch a pass from Angeli tonight. A young man who just 10 months ago won a high school state championship in this building for CBA Syracuse against CBA Albany. What a night for the Orange, and what a night for their emerging star as a freshman, Williams, with his first ever catch in blue and orange.
Go in and win at Florida in that environment. They will be a formidable opponent for Carson Beck and that Miami Football Club.
Flag comes in as Winston Moore is dropped at the 20. Now another flag comes in. It's getting a little chippy. Fadil Diggs' younger brother, out there in coverage. Fadil Diggs, last year's star defensive player for the Orange, now on the practice squad for the New Orleans Saints after being a 7th-round pick. His younger brother getting a chance
here.
During the
return, holding, return team, number 82. 10-yard penalty from the end of the run, correction, half the distance to the goal, first down.
That's Chief Montalvo, number 82, the guilty party. And so that'll back Colgate up. You were talking about the fact that South Florida went into Gainesville and got a win week 2. That's the best environment you played in on the road when you were at Florida State?
Most definitely the toughest, the loudest environment, most intimidating environment. You know, to be able to go in there and get a win. I've played 3 games in that environment as the opponent, 1-1. It is very difficult to do. And so for those guys to be able to go down there and do that, they feel like they can go to Miami and win that football game, which makes it that much more interesting. And you got to remember, these are kids that played against and with one another in high school.
No doubt. The running back is Cole Fulton. Sterney throwing it near sideline over the head of Treyvhon Saunders, who looked over his right shoulder, then his left shoulder, never could locate it as Ibn McDaniels was with him stride for stride. Clock stops at 9:03 of the 3rd quarter. All Syracuse all night, 45-3 our score, as the Orange looking to improve to 2-1 on the young season before the start of ACC play next week against Clemson. And again, folks here in Central New York will be watching that game against Georgia Tech tomorrow to see if the Tigers get that offense going and what they might look like in week 4 against SU. Over the middle, the big man, the big target, Mason Mozo, all 6'5", 250 pounds of him. He was a high school wrestler back in Jacksonville, Florida. That's just his 3rd career reception, and it picks up 7.
And a good job by the big fella taking on the contact and continuing to hold on to that football. James Hurd brought the heat on that play, but Mozo was able to hold on to it.
So 3rd down and 3. Good look at Sterney, the kid from Chicago. He did play week 1 against Monmouth, now week 3 against Syracuse, and he's got a 1st down to Treyvhon Saunders and gets some yards after the catch.
And that again is what makes Saunders such a dangerous player. Not his ability to catch the ball, but what he's able to do after the reception, yards after contact. You see right there, he breaks the tackle. He's got that shake in him, and he's a fall forward receiver. He's not the biggest guy in the world, but he always tends to fall forward.
And he is closing in on becoming the all-time receptions leader in the illustrious history of this Colgate program that dates back to the late 19th century. Sterney on the rollout, had his running back Brendan Casamajor, couldn't hook up though. James Hurd once again making a play for the Orange.
And the offensive line did a good job of picking up the blitz and picking up the stunt on that play. I don't know if Sterney necessarily had to sprint outside the pocket. Maybe that's the way the play was designed, but he had the opportunity to sit in the pocket on that play and look down the field.
Casamajor now next to his quarterback. He'll go out into the flat. Sterney checks it off. Finds Reed Swanson. But for maybe a gain of 1, Demetrius Samuel on the tackle.
And good coverage recognition by the Syracuse defense. There are a lot of crossing routes and a lot of mesh routes on that play. They were able to decipher what the receivers were doing and keep everyone covered up.
So now in 3rd and long, you bring in Brown, you bring in Tremble. Tremble as the Sam, continuing to emerge as a two-way player, recruited as a tight end, now playing both tight end and linebacker. On 3rd and 9, Sterney down the right side has a man, and it's that big target in stride, Reed Swanson.
I did not have him blocked into. I got personal.
Flags down, and we got a sense of what's to come on an open mic.
15-yard penalty from the end of the run, 1st down.
And on that play, Deuce Chestnut had the opportunity to get over. He didn't get over in time to cover that up. He had the bracket over the top coverage on that play, but you've got to make the decision early. You've got to be able to read and see where the matchup advantage is for the offense and get to that side of the field.
Week 1 down in Atlanta, Jamie Tremble played 15 to 20 reps defensively. But Fran Brown said last week, you know, let him keep learning. Didn't play him on defense at all. Wanted him to play some more on defense tonight. He played some linebacker in high school as well, so it's not foreign to him. But there's still a lot to learn. Take the handoff. Now the shovel pass. Saunders gets drilled at the 25-yard line by Barry Buxton III. Young man out of Santa Barbara City College, grew up in San Diego. It's a 5-yard gain for Colgate.
And a creative way to get Saunders the football with the shuffle pass. When you've got a dynamic player like Saunders, you're going to find ways to get him the football, whether it be the jet sweep action, whether it be the shuffle pass, whether it be putting him in the backfield.
Matt Fogler, another big target, number 88 for Colgate, down at the bottom of your screen. On 2nd down and 5. Quick strike over the middle. Got that man again. Still on his feet. Saunders is a handful. Finally stopped by Buxton.
You see Saunders on the crossing route. Once again, Sterney. He's able to get the ball out quickly. And it's more of a choice route on that play right there. Saunders is looking and he's seeing where the coverage is. And when he dissects the coverage and diagnoses where the coverage is going to be over the top, he goes the opposite direction.
This is Colgate's 2nd trip to the red zone tonight. They have no points. Toss play to Shaven. Tries to stiff arm his opponent. James Hurd went down, but he ultimately forced the running back out of play.
And a good drive so far by Colgate. They're using their dynamic player Saunders, but every now and then they're getting the ball to other playmakers on the outside. We've seen Swanson make a big play for him. We've seen Mozo make a big play for him in this drive. Now Shaven.
Defense has 6 new players on the field for Syracuse on 2nd down and 8. The 11th play of the drive for the Gate. Into the end zone. Got a man, but again, on the receiving end, Saunders looked over one shoulder and the football was over the other.
And that comes with work. Probably most of Saunders' work has been with Osborne, and that's route recognition as well. And I think Saunders just lost the football on that play. It looked like Sterney was going to the back of the end zone on a corner route, and Saunders cut that route short.
Cole Fulton back in at running back, number 28. Jariah Sawyer also out there, a senior wide receiver. And before the snap, timeout called by Syracuse.
Timeout, Syracuse. Their first of the half. Media timeout.
Kurt Fitzgerald and his Colgate Raiders with an extended drive trying to home, and with his 10th reception of the game, Treyvhon Saunders. It was his 213th of his college career to break a tie with Corey Hill for 2nd most in program history. And at this pace, he might catch Luke Graham tonight. What a drive for Colgate, their longest extended drive of the night. Sterney, 6 of 9 passing to the end zone, and it is caught. Reed Swanson, and the drive is capped off in style. Sterney now 7 of 10 this drive with a touchdown pass.
And you know, we've been talking about Saunders all night, but Reed Swanson has made some special catches. Watch the big fella, 6'6", contort his body, twist all the way around. He's able to hold on to the football, and he's got a defensive back peel all over him.
Going to go for 2. Zach Osborne back in, and now they will go into the standard field goal setup. Osborne is their regular holder, so it gives them an opportunity, Kurt Fitzpatrick, to do some trickeration, but they decide to just go for the 1, and it is good. Luke Vogler's PAT makes it 45-10. But there's the big target you're talking about, 6'6", 200 pounds. Reed Swanson has really popped out on the field tonight.
And the thing about it, it's what I hope fans realize how difficult it is when you're 6'6" to be able to twist around like he's doing and catching the football. You know, when you're a smaller receiver, maybe, you know, 5'9", 5'10", 5'11", you know, it's a little bit easier to do that, to contort your body. But to be that long, and the way he was able to contort his body and squeeze that football close to him, watch what he's able to do. That is what's most impressive about this to me. You rarely see guys that tall able to turn their bodies in mid-run and mid-route, adjust, and make a catch like that. And I love the spin afterwards.
Well, he had the he had the former Georgia Bulldog Chris Peel all over him, and it didn't matter.
And he gave us the crane afterwards. I mean, you gotta love it.
Tyleek Hill, a freshman from Asbury Park, New Jersey, into the game. Number 39 back deep to receive the kick. We were told before the game by Fran Brown that Hill would be one of the young running backs to get an opportunity tonight, assuming the game went as expected. Syracuse a 38-point favorite coming in. Again, Yasin Willis not available tonight. He's banged up and is week to week. And also Malachi James not playing due to an unspecified injury tonight. And now Steve Angeli's night seems to be done, because number 10, Ricky Collins, the LSU transfer, is making his Syracuse debut. Collins and Angeli battled for the starting job in training camp, which Angeli won, and now Collins, as the number 2, puts it to the air for the first time in orange and blue, and he's got his man, Jalen Hornsby. Good to see Hornsby look that pass into his hands this time.
And you want to keep going to Hornsby. He's missed a couple of passes, but you want to continue to go to him. You want to instill that confidence in him. You're not going to catch everything, but you want to continue to instill in him the opportunity to catch the football.
Jaden Hurts straight ahead into the pile, which keeps moving forward in Syracuse's favor for a first down. It's 5 yards on the gain for the 5'11" sophomore from Indiana.
And Syracuse has made it very evident that they can pass the football. I think one of the things they want to work on as this game progresses and they get to the fourth quarter is being able to establish a consistent rushing attack.
Collins all day finally just throws it to nobody at about the 40-yard line, incomplete to bring up 2nd down and 10. Tomorrow morning, the ACC Huddle crew will be in Atlanta at Bobby Dodd Stadium to get you ready for another full day of football with a 2-hour pregame show. They'll have game previews along with expert analysis and featured stories right here on the ACC Network and the all-new ESPN app. Of course, they're there for number 12 Clemson taking on Georgia Tech. That game is noon on ESPN tomorrow. Collins now tucks the football and is tripped up at about the 35-yard line. It's Elijah Hamilton putting together a really nice night defensively for the Gate.
And good coverage down the field by Colgate. Nowhere for Collins to go with the football. He did a good job of just getting what the defense gave him and getting out of bounds. Don't take any unnecessary contact and don't try to force it in there.
Steve Angeli, 20 of 28 passing, 331 yards, 5 touchdowns tonight. By the way, that tackle for Hamilton, his 11th, as they pile up for the Gate. That pass intercepted. Tatum Johnson picked it off, and Colgate takes it away. Trying to find Gabe Daniels, but Johnson was there to step in.
And that ball was badly underthrown, and it's almost like Tatum Johnson said, enough! You have gone at me all night. I am taking this. But the receiver was definitely behind Tatum Johnson, but that ball was grossly underthrown. Good job by Johnson to get his hands on the ball and get it back to his offense.
Well, this defensive secondary for Colgate, outside of Tymir Wynn, does not have a lot of experience. Their 2 starting safeties, Kenny Langston and Reese Allen, have very little experience coming into the year. And Justin Toller, as well, is one of the 2 starting cornerbacks. So Tatum Johnson has been getting more reps. And he comes up with the interception for Colgate. Sterney back out at quarterback after he guided that last extended drive for Colgate's first touchdown. No gain on that first down carry. Anwar Sparrow came up to make the stop on Fulton. Well, Haynes King is expected to come back for Georgia Tech and start at quarterback. You've seen the Yellow Jackets in person. I had him in spring. He's a tough kid. His body, his physicality is why they were able to go into Boulder and beat Colorado, but he paid the price. He had to sit out week 2. He should be back against Clemson tomorrow.
He was dealing with a nagging lower body injury, and they went with Philo last week, and Aaron Philo showed you that he can play extremely well. Aaron Philo's the guy that broke all of Trevor Lawrence's high school records. So they've got some dual threats at the quarterback position.
Treyvhon Saunders being guarded by Jalil Martin with the flag down.
Pass interference. Defense, number 17. The ball will be placed at the spot of the foul. Automatic first down.
And you see right there, number 17 holding Treyvhon Saunders. And I understand, you know, Treyvhon Saunders is very difficult to cover. He's going to be a difficult cover for anybody on the outside, but you've got to do a better job. Keep your hands off of him. Get up, play press man, bump him off the line of scrimmage. Don't give a free release.
First game action of the season for Martin. So it's first down for Colgate into Syracuse territory. Jake Sterney dumps it off to his running back. Oohs and ahs come on the big hit as Fulton is drilled by Jaquez and Long, who came together for the stop, but not until a big pickup for 9 yards.
And a good job holding on to the football. He knows he's going to get hit. You've got defenders coming up the field, and a good job by Long leading with his shoulder.
Yep. Second and 1. Fulton going to be close. Looks like maybe just short. Got to get to the 35-yard line. Zion Moultrie-Goddard, number 22, credited with the tackle. And so 3rd down and 1. And they'll go for it again up the middle, and this time no trouble. And still on his feet is Fulton. He gets to the 25-yard line.
And a good job by Colgate lining up, not allowing the Syracuse defense to get set and getting that 1st down. And what I like about Fulton, he's continuing to churn his feet and get as many yards as possible. He's not going down after the first contact. He's making the Syracuse defenders bring him down.
Well, the sophomore running back from Poland Seminary in Poland, Ohio, picked up 10 yards that time. Now Danny Shaven, the UConn transfer, takes his place. Sterney on the move, throws it high, incomplete. Swanson again the intended target. Demetrius Samuel once again up for the challenge.
Impressive. This young man has been impressive all throughout this evening. He is showing that he has shut down cornerback ability, that he can shut down one side of the field, the way he's been able to cover up these receivers and react even when it looks like he's beat on a play. You see the vertical leap on that play to get up and cover the 6'6" receiver. He's 6'1", and he's higher than a 6'6" receiver going up for that football.
Deuce Chestnut told him this week, "You do things I can't do." We just saw right there what Samuel can do, his 3rd pass breakup of the night, as the continuing emergence of Syracuse's freshman two-way player unfolds in front of us. Well, Davion Kerr has come into the game, number 14, the twin brother for Davian Kerr, both defensive backs. And so Davion, apparently one of them has a face that's a little rounder than the other, but the coaching staff is not so sure about that. One's listed at 6'1", Davion, but they say that day he must have had higher and bigger hair. That's why Davian, with an E, is only 6 feet tall. Can you tell them apart?
Absolutely not. They are identical twins.
Another deep shot. Once again, number 0. And once again, Reed Swanson with the touchdown. A 23-yard pass from Jake Sterney, his 2nd of this 2nd half.
And this is not an easy catch. Once again, Reed Swanson is showing us he has a large catch radius. Look at this catch over the shoulders, able to concentrate, squeeze the football, and stay in bounds with the defensive back all over him. Another great catch and touchdown by Reed Swanson.
And now Luke Vogler, the junior place kicker, puts his right foot into it. And Colgate on the final play of the third quarter gets its 2nd touchdown of the quarter to pull within 45-17. Syracuse to start the 4th quarter. Colgate, after its 2nd touchdown of the 3rd quarter, will kick off. Tyleek Hill makes the catch at the 1, and the freshman running back out across the 15, out across the 20. Good return for the 1st-year player for the Orange. Chased out of bounds by Zach Jones. Well, Forrest, that 3rd quarter really was controlled by Colgate. They had 2 good scoring drives, outscored Syracuse 14-7. Total yards was 141-61, and they ran 25 offensive plays to just 14 for Syracuse. And because of that, Steve Angeli, the starting quarterback, is back on the field for the Orange.
And you know Coach Brown is not happy that he's got to put Angeli back in the game, but he's also not happy with his defense because they played a little bit softer than they've been playing in the 1st half.
And Angeli's not the only starter back out there. That was Jaden Hart, the number 2 running back tonight behind Will Nixon. Elijah Hamilton well into double figures with tackles. He and Tymir Wynn combined on the stop.
And to me, this kind of is what we saw last week when Coach Brown had the team running sprints after the game. The expectation level is not where it needs to be, so he puts his starters back in the football game. And this, to me, is a message to the football team that we will not settle for less than expected.
Malachi Coleman, a freshman running back from Roanoke, Virginia, into the football game. And he immediately gets his first touch, picks his way out to about the 44-yard line.
And Malachi Coleman is a speed demon. If he gets on the edge. I don't think anybody can catch him. He holds his high school record in the 110 hurdles, so we know he can fly if he gets in the open field.
William Fleming High School in Virginia. They don't give him a chance to get a full head of steam there. And not just hurdle, sprints as well. His name is all over those record books for us.
Absolutely. But I think this is a message by Coach Brown to his team. You know, if you're not going to play at the level that we expect you to play, you won't be in the football game. I'll put my starters back in the game.
Third down and 3. The line to gain is the 50. Villari motions, now comes set. Angeli goes that way. It's a first down pitch and catch to the big tight end from Long Island, and it takes 5 Colgate defenders to push him out of bounds.
And what I like about that, Villari would not go down. And that's what you want to see. That's the attitude that I think Coach Brown and his staff are looking for.
He won a state title with Plain Edge High School here at the Dome back in his playing days in high school. Open receiver on the near sideline is Gabe Daniels. Clock continues to run with 12:45 remaining in the fourth. Reese Allen was the defender.
And Angeli continues to put the ball right where the receiver can get in. The receivers are doing a good job of finding a hole in the zone, and Angeli's doing an excellent job of putting the ball right on top of him.
That's the 11th different Syracuse receiver to make a catch, and it covers 17 yards. 2 tight ends to the right side of the formation. They're going to run it up the middle. It's Jaden Hart, who got into 8 games as a true freshman last year, carried the football 3 times for 18 yards.
And I still want to see better movement from the middle of that offensive line. The 2 guards in the center have to do a better job of getting movement at the point of attack, and a lot of that is tandem blocks, double teaming up to the second level defenders. That means getting hip to hip with the mesh and then getting up and then being able to come off of that block and take over and get up to the linebacker.
Throwing it up. Got a man to the pylon. And they say that Jalen Hornsby was out of bounds inside the 1-yard line.
And Angeli saw the matchup that was favorable. And you see Hornsby able to get to the outside and beat the defensive back. And they're picking on Tatum Johnson once again. When they see that matchup with number 3, they're going to it on the outside.
They get 21 yards. They give a heavy personnel look, and that draws a stoppage.
I think that's a touchdown. They're going to review that.
The previous play is under review. The ruling on the field was a completed catch.
If you look, when he twists, it looked like he got the ball over.
But he said they're checking to see whether it was a catch or not.
I'm thinking it's a touchdown.
Certainly looks like a catch, and you're right. I think you're right.
Yeah. Good job by the officials to catch that. And I'm happy for Hornsby. He's had a tough night early. He had a couple of big-time drops, 2 or 3 right in his chest. But he's been able to redeem himself. First, when Ricky Collins came into the game and went to him a couple of times, and here on what I think is going to be overturned and changed to a touchdown.
And you know, Hornsby is part of what Fran Brown and his staff has done to really upgrade the recruiting the last 2 years. He was offered out of high school by schools like Georgia, Michigan, Notre Dame, Oregon, Texas A&M, Penn State, and he chose Syracuse.
And he's a huge target for them to develop at 6'3", 220 pounds. I mean, that's a great target.
The ruling on the field is upheld. First down.
So that left foot, they say, was on the sideline before he extended that right arm.
I think it has to be conclusive for them to overturn it, and they didn't have enough evidence to overturn that.
And so they uphold it. That's the new terminology this year. And so Fran Brown, in his second year as head coach of the Orange, let's see if he sends the heavy package back out.
And this is when you want your offensive line to prove to you that they can get movement at the point of attack. And in goal line offense, you basically are bear crawling, you're firing out with the flat back. This is why you do sled work all week long, right here.
Max Runyon, one of the fullbacks out there to help lead the way. And the surge forward gets Syracuse back into the end zone. So Steve Angeli comes off the bench to get back out there to start the fourth quarter and immediately reignites the Syracuse offense.
Well, an impressive drive all the way down the field. I don't think they had any negative plays on that drive. And that is what Coach Brown and his staff wants to see, in a good movement at the point of attack by those offensive linemen. I'd like to see number 73, Joshua Miller, get a little bit lower on that play. He was up high on that play, but the other linemen, a good job getting a surge and movement at the point of attack.
And I said that Runyon was out there to lead the way. Indeed, he was out there to push from behind to make sure his quarterback got into the end zone. Point after is good. 52-17 Syracuse.
The college football playoff begins December 19th and concludes with the national championship January 19th on ESPN.
And for a second year in a row, it'll be a 12-team playoff. Syracuse dreaming of being part of it. A team like SMU showed that there is a path out of the ACC from when you're not expected to be there, that if you win enough games, you can get there. Jaden O's kick goes into the end zone after a 9-play, 71-yard drive. Steve Angeli back out of the field. A perfect 3-for-3 passing, 51 yards, and then his 1-yard touchdown sneak. And here are the games for Syracuse against last year's CFP teams. They've already been beaten in Atlanta week 1 by Tennessee, but it's a gauntlet of a schedule, one of the toughest in the country coming into the year. Clemson next week, and then SMU on October 4th, and then the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame on November 22nd. And really, if you look at it, their entire regular season schedule, Forrest, Colgate is the only team that didn't play in a bowl game last year. They have a lot of big hurdles to get over for the Orange. We've got flags down. Play continues for Cole Fulton out of the backfield. He gets drilled at about the 40-yard line, knocked off his feet and out of bounds. Let's see what the penalty is about after Davion Kerr made the hit.
Too many men on the field.
Illegal substitution. Defense. That penalty is declined. Result of the play is a first down.
And you see Coach Brown angry. That is a mental error. You cannot have that type of error on first down after a kick. That is something that you cannot have, and he is upset with his coaching staff and with his players. And it may not affect them right now, but down the line in a bigger game, in a close game, this can affect them. That's why you cannot have these mistakes now. You've got to practice perfect.
Let's hope everybody gets up there. Somebody got his leg kind of rolled up. Looks like everybody's all right. Winston Moore on the receiving end picked up 2 yards. And by the way, that was the backup cornerback, Greg Delane, the previous play, who didn't get off the field on time. He comes in backing up Demetrius Samuel, who's had a noteworthy night as his emergence continues. Although at the moment I don't see number 1 out there playing defense. He has his first interception of his college career. Samuel also has his first reception as a wide receiver. Good coverage by Derek McDonald, the 5th-year linebacker, one of the most experienced members on the defensive side. He hit Cole Fulton just as the pass got there.
And they were trying to set up the screen play, and they had everything set up as nicely as you wanted it to. They had blocking out front. But Derek McDonald did a good job of diagnosing that play and keeping himself free and away from those blockers. He was able to knock that ball down before Fulton could get his hands on it.
Jaleel Martin, another one of the reserve defensive backs, has returned to the field. 3 receivers to the top of your screen on 3rd down and long. Pass deflected into the hands of the intended receiver for a 1st down. Good concentration by Treyvhon Saunders.
And the ball was tipped. And the ability of Sterney to still have enough on that football after the tip by David
Omoperiola.
Thank you.
Fulton gets the edge, and he's going to go to the house. Davion Kerr unable to make the stop, and it's a 44-yard touchdown.
And you know what, Doug? I would not be surprised if the defense has to do a couple of gassers on the field today. I mean, that's just poor tackling right there. Poor angles by Kerr, number 14. You've got to take a better pursuit angle on that play. You don't want to give up the outside. You want to force him to cut it back to the inside where pursuit is coming from. Kerr, you've got to do a better job, but also the defensive line. And these are some of the things that Coach Brown talked to us about when he doesn't feel like you're leaving it all out there on the field. The defense in the second half just seems like they have not come out to play. They've been sleepwalking on a couple of these plays. And you see right here, Fulton able to get to the house basically untouched.
Back to Syracuse right after this.
ACC Network College Football is presented by Ice Cold Dr. Pepper. College football, it's a pepper thing. Presented by Ice Cold Dr. Pepper. College football, it's a pepper thing.
Steve Angeli and the Syracuse offense has been electric. He's the 4th player in program history to be responsible for at least 6 touchdowns in a game, joining Zach Mahoney, Eric Dungy, and, drumroll please, Jim Brown in 1956 against Colgate. which at the time for Jim Brown, along with his kicking, all the PATs, was the NCAA single game record for points scored. Flag comes in on the return with 9:18 on the clock in the fourth quarter here at the JMA Dome. There's the Ring of Honor name of the great Jim Brown in section 114 here at the JMA Dome, and it was always great when Jim would come back. These are the grounds that he actually did all of that on. This is where Archbold Stadium used to stand. And after the 1978 season, they tore it down and built the then Carrier Dome.
During the return, holding, return team, number 15. The penalty is half the distance to the goal, first down.
And he was such an exceptional athlete. I mean, when you think of all the things that he did and he accomplished, not just on the football field, but as a lacrosse player as well. I mean,
track and field and basketball. He played basketball here. And if he hadn't quit after his junior year over the racial quotas of the time, the team without him his senior year made it to the Elite Eight.
I got a question for you.
Okay.
Who's the best athlete when you look at Jim Brown, Deion Sanders, or Bo Jackson?
Jim Brown. He threw a no-hitter in high school as a baseball pitcher. Jim Brown.
Hey, I have no argument with that.
All right, Ricky Collins back out there. Tylee Kill, the running back. Collins, the LSU transfer, struggled in the third quarter, makes the big completion to Davian Williams, and the freshman from CBA all the way out across the 40-yard line.
When you see the speed and elusiveness by Williams on the outside, he's able to avoid the tackler, tightrope the sideline, and then once he gets past the defender, you see the speed.
Timeout for an injured player.
Got an injured player along the near sideline. And talk about what Fran Brown has done for the upstate New York football scene. Keeping a guy like Darrell Williams in Syracuse. He was offered by Penn State, Pittsburgh. Deion Sanders wanted him in Colorado, but Williams said, nope, I'm staying home. We'll take a break for the injured player. Back to the Dome right after this. Alongside Forrest Connolly, I'm Doug Sherman, back inside the JMA Dome in Syracuse. The Orange jumped out big in the first half. And while Colgate has been much more competitive against the 2s and 3s for Syracuse here in the second half, the Orange still well in control. And again, the LSU transfer Ricky Collins at quarterback for the Orange. Easy pitch and catch to the near sideline. It's a first down for the Orange, and that's another one of the CBA local recruits. He picks up 11 yards. Now, CBA again won a state championship here at the Dome last year, and a number of those players were Division I recruits who wanted to stay home and play for Fran Brown. How about the shiftiness on that run of Tyreek Hill? They are high on that true freshman out of Pope John, the 23rd in New Jersey.
And Zayvon Tokeven was right there to make the tackle, but you see the shifty play and the ability to maintain his balance and get up the field. A good job by Tyreek Hill.
After the hesitation, little jump step outside, little stiff arm at the end. That's a nice looking run. As Rowlison goes to the turf, Tyreek Hill out of bounds after another first down pickup of 12 yards.
And a jump cut to get to the outside, and once he gets to the outside, you see the speed to get up the field. Tyreek Hill, this is a guy that had a single season record, 2,372 yards and 27 touchdowns in high school. So, I mean, you know, he can get going.
Timeout, Colgate. They're first. 30 seconds.
Coach Fitz calls timeout. You see him smiling. He's not enjoying what's on the scoreboard, but this is a homecoming game. He grew up just about 30 minutes from here in Fulton, New York, and has a huge number of friends and family in the stands. And understandably, most of them are Syracuse fans, just not on this night. They got to wear the maroon of Colgate.
And, you know, they're not going to win this football game, but there are some positives that have come out of this game. Zach Osborne has played extremely well. I think, once again, Treyvhon Saunders has shown you he's one of the better receivers in the country, no matter, you know, what level of play. And Reed Swanson has stood out to me tonight.
Yeah.
You know, the 6'6" receiver on the outside.
Well, only about an hour between these two campuses, and so a number of the Colgate fans have made it here to Syracuse. Malachi Coleman, another one of the true freshmen, getting an opportunity. Trooper Price in there for Colgate.
And those are some of the plays that Coach Brown and his staff will be looking at and want to improve upon. When you've got your second team offensive lineman in the game, they've got to be able to read that blitz package and not allow linebackers like Trooper Price to get penetration.
Collins at quarterback. He was a 4-star top 100 recruit nationally out of Baton Rouge. Now he's going to tuck it and run. Bounces it outside. Uses a block. Still on his feet inside the 15-yard line. An electrifying run for quarterback number 2, Ricky Collins. 15 yards on the pickup.
Love the play call, Doug, and what I also love is the way he's able to read his blocks. It's a designed quarterback draw. You see the guards get up and cover up those linebackers as well as the back. Then he gets it to the outside, and you see him, he's waiting on his receivers, and what the receiver does a good job getting his hands up in the air, just getting away. You know you're going to get a block, illegal block if you make that blindside block, so just put your hands up in the air and get in the way.
Passing into the end zone. It's snared out of the air for a touchdown. Gabe Daniels gets into the scoring column for the Orange on a 12-yard touchdown. And so that's noteworthy for Ricky Collins. On a sustained scoring drive, he throws his first touchdown as an Orange.
And you see Ricky Collins, he goes with the ball fake. He sees he's got man coverage on the outside. He throws it out where only his receiver can make a play on it. That's exactly how it's drawn up. You get the ball to the outside, a back shoulder throw. His receiver has to adjust and squeeze the football.
And so more true freshmen getting opportunities to play. Gabe Daniels is a young man from Atlanta. We saw on that drive Dante Bashai with his first reception. Fran Brown told us yesterday most of their best talent on the roster are freshmen and second years. Give them time. Get them into games like this against an FCS opponent and let them grow. He really likes some of the components he has on this roster.
And one of the things that Coach Brown talked about, too, is retaining talent. When you've got young talent nowadays with the portal, you have to be able to retain that talent along with going and getting additional talent.
Having a little fun, well, winners get washed. We saw a little shower right there. There's Ricky Collins. Again, he was a big-time recruit, stayed home for his first 2 years of college at LSU, but he backed up Jaden Daniels and Garrett Nussmeier. So he came to Syracuse and actually was named by Coach Brown in the spring as the #1 quarterback, but that was before Steve Angeli transferred in from Notre Dame and won the starting job in fall camp. But Collins has a lot of ability.
And in today's game, you've got to have 2 quarterbacks with the ability to play because of how physical the game is and because of the threat of injury. You definitely don't want to see anyone get hurt, but you have to be prepared and have 2 quarterbacks ready to play.
We are looking ahead to next Wednesday's ACCN women's soccer matchup. 7th-ranked Florida State squares off against number 19 North Carolina at Dorrance Field in Chapel Hill. Coverage begins at 7 Eastern and can always be seen on the all-new ESPN app. You're going to be rooting for the Noles in that one. Proud Florida State alumnus.
Absolutely.
Forrest Connolly.
If I could sneak one in, go Noles and nobody else.
Oh, come on. 35 years ago, you were the Berlin Wall, a huge lineman for Berlin High School in Connecticut, and your first recruiting visit to Syracuse
University. They were the first school to offer me a scholarship.
Paul Pasqualoni and the entire staff. Coach Mack was still here at that time. They wanted you to come, and you said no thank you, in spite of having a great time on your recruiting visit.
Look, if I would have went to the school where I had the best recruiting visit, I would have been a Syracuse Orangeman. Coach DeLeon was the offensive line coach. He was a very animated, awesome person to talk to. I mean, I wanted to play for him, but when I got off the plane, the snow was up to my knees. I said no.
That was in August. I'm just kidding. Alex Sitkowski, the 3rd-string quarterback, a sophomore from Old Bridge, New Jersey, out there for the first time. Chuck Volan's also out there at tight end. Again, Kurt Fitzpatrick going deeper into his roster. The defense for Syracuse strung that out nicely, pursuing Danny Shabin. But he's able to pick up positive yardage out to the 29-yard line. Zion Bradell among those in on the stop.
And you know, Doug, I'll tell you what, I didn't choose to come to Syracuse, but I practiced and played against a guy in high school that did come here and was one of the all-time greats, Bucky Jones.
Wow.
He used to destroy us in high school. I mean, we would beat his team, but he would have 300 or 400 all-purpose yards against us.
A lot of great Orangemen over the years out of the state of Connecticut. Big hit after the incompletion. There on the stick, Zylan Moultrie Goddard. Yeah, Floyd Little from Connecticut, Bucky Jones from Connecticut, and then a guy who's now on staff back at Syracuse, Dwight Freeney, from the Nutmeg State.
The great
Dwight Freeney. The eyes of the coaches and the eyes of the defensive players just light up. They get as big as saucers when they talk about the idea that Dwight Freeney is back on campus in practice, teaching them the spin move that they can't do, but he's showing them how to do it.
Well, what was interesting, they said that Dwight tells all of his defensive guys, develop a go-to move.
Bad snap. Syracuse comes up with a football. It hit the up back, and Syracuse was there to come up with a loose ball. Lassane Jr.
Bad luck.
Recovers the fumble.
But back to Dwight Freeney.
Right, you need one move and you need one counter.
He said, yeah, perfect your move and have a counter off of that, and that's how you become successful. And his move was getting lower than anybody else could and having bend like you've never seen before.
Ricky Collins back out there. Got a run. Takes a couple of shots, gets bent backwards, loses his helmet, And so he'll have to come off the field for at least one snap. And it looks like Luke Carney, the true freshman from Mesquite, Texas, will come in for at least one play. Connor Phelps making the big hit for Colgate. First opportunity for Carney. He's going to run for it, and he's going to walk into the end zone. One true freshman after another scoring touchdowns for Syracuse. An 8-yard run. Luke Carney makes it 65-24.
And I don't know if that's an RPO play, but Luke Carney said, I'm going to keep the football and make the most of my opportunity, and I am not mad at him.
One snap as a collegiate player and one touchdown. Pretty good.
And he actually did the right thing. The defensive end crashed down, and he pulled the ball out at the mesh point and got around the edge. But I guarantee you, if the defensive end stayed outside, he was going to keep that football. He had a lead blocker coming around with him. He was not giving it up.
Trip Woody with another point after. Syracuse adds to its lead. Carney was a real dual threat QB at Dallas Christian School. 111 touchdown passes. He rushed for 42 touchdowns. All smiles now at that Syracuse sideline. But I tell you what, the way the third quarter went, Coach Brown is going to have plenty to coach up his team after this game.
Well, there are some holes on the defense they've got to plug up, and they've got to be prepared because, like you said, they've got Clemson coming in next week. And that's going to be a very tough ball game as they get into ACC play. They've got some tough games upcoming against some very powerful offenses that like to get the ball up and down the field. So offensively, I think they have got things going the way they want to get them going. 615 total yards today. You saw what Angeli's able to do with the football when he gets time. They've got to shore up that running game a little bit more. I want to see more consistency there. Outside of that one big play up the middle, it wasn't really a consistent run game, so they need to work on that a little bit. But defensively, they've got some holes to fill, and they've got to get prepared because Clemson will be coming in next week, and they've got some other ball games along the way that they've got to be prepared for.
Well, this
Actually,
is now
going to Clemson.
Yes. This is now the 5th straight season with a 50-point game for Syracuse. That's tied for the longest streak in program history, originally set from 1914 to 1918. And here's what the 2025 Orange have upcoming. We mentioned the trip to Clemson to start ACC play next weekend. That's a 12 o'clock game either on ABC or ESPN.
Duke won't be an easy out.
No.
Because Mensah can throw it and sling it all up and down the field, so the defense will be challenged in that game.
How about Duke's game tomorrow with him going back to New Orleans to play against Tulane? Yes. Darian Mensah left the Green Wave for a big pot of gold in Durham, North Carolina. He's now going back against his old team.
And I'll tell you what, Pitt, a lot of people aren't paying attention to Pittsburgh right now. And Pittsburgh is playing some excellent football.
They got 2 returning All-Americans, including their running back. And, oh, by the way, Eli Holstein was a top recruit at quarterback and went to Alabama, and he can sling it. And in Cade Bell's offense, they're going to score a ton of points.
Absolutely.
Jariah Sawyer on the receiving end. 8-yard pickup from the 3rd-string quarterback, Alex Sitkowski. Clock continues to run under 4.5. There's a good look at Sitkowski, young man from Watching Hills High School, Old Bridge, New Jersey. Casa Major, the starting running back, hit almost immediately, but he does get the first down.
And in games like this where you've got the game won, this is when the coaching staff continues to evaluate players, evaluate talent, see who's going to continue to hustle to the football, who's going to continue to try to make plays, who's going to play assignment football and not just go for the big play, but play assignment football.
They go to the motion man. The pass complete. Jariah Sawyer once again. Senior from Tampa out of Plant City High School. Same high school as former Orange quarterback and tight end Rex Culpepper. Caleb Singleton in coverage. He's another one of the true freshmen getting an opportunity to play tonight for Syracuse out of Jacksonville, Florida. So it'll bring up 2nd down and 7. Shaven takes the handoff, makes the first man miss, able to get out close to a 1st down. Going to pick up maybe 7. Yes, that is a 1st down. Fatim Diggs on the tackle.
Good job once again by the offensive line of getting movement at the point of attack. Firing off with the flat back, staying low and keeping their feet moving. Keeping a wide base, duck walking those defensive linemen back and getting up to those 2nd level defenders.
Final 2:20 of this football game. Once again running is Shaben. And he moves the pile for what's going to be about a 14-yard pickup. Zion Bradell, the Syracuse defender who brought him down, and that brings us to the 2-minute timeout. All orange tonight at the Dome. Good to see Coach Fitz still smiling on that Colgate sideline, and a night that has been pretty much all Syracuse. But the 3rd quarter, the Raiders pushed back and made Fran Brown bring some of his starters back out there, including Steve Angeli, whose numbers are once again, Forrest, eye-popping. 24 of 32 passing, and that includes what, 2 drops, 3 drops, 4 drops, 417 yards and 5 touchdowns plus a rushing touchdown.
So he threw for 1 more yard than he did last week.
Just another night at the office for a Syracuse quarterback. Again, huge cleats to fill after Kyle McCord was so brilliant last year, but you see signs that this offense can pick right up where it left off last year with all the new faces.
Absolutely love this offense. You got Jonte Cook on the outside, a speed demon. He's able to get down the field with the vertical routes. Darrell Gill, we saw what he can do jumping up over people at 6'3". His vertical has to be 35, 36 inches, the way he's able to get up in the air and high point the football. And they've just got talent all around the field. And defensively, Samuel has just really impressed me. This young kid, and like we said off air, he still can grow 2 or 3 more inches. He's 6'1", and he's filled out. He's not a small 6'1" at 17 years old.
Well, Samuel playing his first offensive snaps as a college player, had his first reception. Just saw Luke Carney, one of 3 true freshmen to have scored touchdowns tonight. And Demetrius Samuel, pass deflected, going to hit the turf, incomplete. Fatim Diggs, just like his big brother used to do, getting one of his big mitts up there to bat that pass down.
And defensive linemen are taught, if you can't get to the quarterback and you see him getting ready to throw the football, get your hands up and try and knock the ball down. But offensive linemen are taught, when a defensive lineman jumps up with his hands up, you get a 2-hand punch to the gut area and remind him that is not what you want to do moving forward.
Big number 95, Eric Thomas in the middle there. We've got a long field goal try coming for Luke Vogler. 49 yards. His long was 51 last season at Akron. Got plenty of distance, but he is wide right. And so now Syracuse can come out in victory formation and salt this thing away. Well, Colgate has shown itself well in 3 losses. They played 2 FCS ranked opponents, close, lost by 1 score to each. And then have shown signs tonight in a matchup against their longtime Central New York rival. And from here, Colgate will play Fordham next Saturday at home in Hamilton before going on the road October 4th at Cornell. Tyler Chandler is in at running back for the Orange. Ricky Collins at quarterback. He's got his first touchdown toss as a Syracuse Orange. On the carry, Tyler Chandler picks up 4 yards. And let's see if the Orange will snap again. Fran Brown saying, no, we're good. And so the second-year head coach, who is continuing to rebuild this program, and thanks and shows his appreciation for a man who he tried to hire on his staff just a few months ago.
And you love the mutual respect that they have for one another.